Today's episode of the One Piece podcast is sponsored by Right Stuf. The Right Stuf annual holiday sale is finally here. There are new items added to this sale daily, and you can save up to 95% on DVDs, Blu-rays, books, and merchandise. Quantities on some of these items are limited, so make sure to order early and often. Viz Media is taking over the weekly specials this holiday season. New items will be added every Monday, and orders must be placed by the end of the day on Sunday to qualify for the promotion, so don't miss out on this limited offer. This week's deal is One Punch Man and Tokyo Ghoul. Both are 40% off, and the Ranma 1/2 Blu-ray is 50% off. This deal ends on Sunday. New items are added to the main sale, which is currently at almost 1,200 products, so check that out now. You can visit RightStufAnime.com every day for the new items added to the holiday season, as I'm sure there will be many more. Again, that's RightStufAnime.com. On with the show. This is the One Piece Podcast, episode 446 for the week of Monday, November 28th, 2016. My name is Zach.
And my name is Ed.
And my name is Steve.
And my name is Alex.
On today's show, we have very special guest, translator for One Piece and Weekly Shonen Jump, Stephen Paul's with us. Hey, Stephen.
Hey, what's up, guys? Glad to be here. We're on a good run of chapters.
We are. Feeling a little better, too?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I'm on the mend.
Good, because we've replaced you with other sick people. We've got One Piece Podcast editorial writer and Anime News Network reviewer for such shows as One Piece, Dragon Ball Super, and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. We have Sam Leach with us. Hey, Sam.
Hey, guys, I am sick with pneumonia.
Jeez.
Still.
He took your sickness to a whole new level, Stephen. Ed, you're sick too, right? So.
Well, yeah.
If you listen to this, guys, you're not going to catch anything, don't worry.
I'm sick in the head.
Well, we'll diagnose that one later. We also have a special guest, one of our editors. We have Mike with us. Hey, Mike.
Hey, guys. I'm actually feeling fine.
That's good.
Show off.
I don't know if you will when we're all done with this. So,
yeah, that won't last.
Mike, you also contribute to a lot of other websites and podcasts and stuff. Do you want to tell the folks a little bit about your stomping grounds in general?
Sure. I actually have my own podcast called Stellar Dynamics. It's a podcast about the band Rush. We go album by album through their discography, and that's about it.
Nice.
You're going to fit in well here.
That just reminds me, Ed, of our trip to Canada where we only listened to Rush. And by that, I mean I only wanted to listen to Rush.
It's appropriate.
It is. So on today's episode, we have our manga recap of Chapter 847, Luffy and Big Mom. And Sam, you're doing our anime recap this week. What could we expect there?
Yep, that is for episodes 765 and 766, which is respectively Let's Go Meet the Cat Viper and Luffy's Decision. Sanji's on the brink of quitting.
Yes, and I hear there's a little bit of filler in one of those, but that there's also singing. Oh, Ed.
Filler bees, as Ed said.
Filler bees. So before we get started into that part of the show, we also have something special on this episode. And Steve, do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. As you guys know, the screening of the One Piece Kabuki was this past weekend in Hollywood, California. I was there along with Brian and Jill and Dennis. Dennis and I showed up for the 1:30. Brian and Jill were coming out of the 10 a.m. and they thought, what the hell? And they stuck around and they watched it again with us. So afterwards, we decided we were right there. We recorded a little segment, also joined by a couple listeners of our show, friends as well. And it's a nice little segment. I know Greg has talked about the Kabuki in detail in the past. We're not gonna guide you through this entire show, but we're just offering our opinions and discussion, and I think it's a nice little segment. I hope you enjoy it.
And can you reveal any of the special guests who might be on?
We're joined by a couple listeners and friends, Abigail and Andrew. They chime in with their opinions as well, and I think it's a pretty cool discussion. I hope you guys enjoy it.
Thank you for bringing that to us. Yeah, Stephen.
I was really jealous just looking at all the pictures that people were tweeting, just like knowing that it was not that far away from me geographically.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, I wish I was there. It seemed like you guys had a lot of fun.
You shoulda.
I heard both showings were either sold out or both were definitely full, from what I heard.
I really didn't take a look at the rest of the theater once I kind of got settled. But they did say that both of them were, quote, sold out. You didn't have to pay to go to this, Stephen. What the hell? But it was a huge turnout, and it's not just One Piece fans. It was
Kabuki fans, just families.
All two of them.
Yeah, it was no. A lot of Japanese Americans were there, with their kids as well. So it's nothing to scoff at. This had some mass appeal.
Nice. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So I hope they do something cool like that again, or hope that the Kabuki, shows up somewhere beyond Los Angeles, maybe even somewhere slightly closer to Steven. It seems to have done well, and that's what's important. So thanks to everyone who went out, and it's awesome that you and Roger and others were able to make it there. It looked like a ton of fun. I'm sad I couldn't make it to the West Coast. I also want to mention, since it is the end of the month, please subscribe to us on Patreon at patreon.com/One Piece Podcast. We added a bunch of outtakes and exclusives, including some of our test recordings and other recordings. Those are all available now. For those who subscribe $10 and up, we'll also have an exclusive episode available for you next week. Again, that's exclusively on patreon.com/One Piece Podcast. And last but not least, I want to mention that since it's Cyber Monday as I'm recording this, there are sales. I believe they're lasting beyond today, though, at Redbubble, which is where our store is located. So you can check out the One Piece Podcast store, get One Piece Podcast merchandise. That's all available. Through our website, you just press store at the top of our site. And last but not least, the Right Stuf sales also going on. Check out more of that at rightstufanime.com. And with that, you guys ready to get into the show?
Yes, we are.
Let's do it.
This is the manga recap for chapter 847, Luffy and Big Mom. Ed, what's going on the front page here?
And here on the cover page, we have the Tontadas and Rebecca celebrating Kiros's birthday.
The birthday.
You're the birthday boy. Oh, girl.
Creepy grandpa in the window.
God. He doesn't have a good reason to be creeping. He could just walk in.
Yeah.
I mean, out of context, you have an old man with a scar on his forehead. This looks like, a horror movie. It's going to kill them.
Kiros has a pretty big scar on his forehead, too. All the old men have scars.
Good point.
But yeah, I mean, as a fan of generally Kiros as a character, I like that storyline, I think, more than most. So this is nice.
Well,
there's not much else to say about it.
If you think about it, this is probably the first birthday Kiros has been able to celebrate as Kiros in many, many years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't like their storyline very much, but I think this is like a super cute scene. I don't think the characters are bad, but I think I think this particular image is like super adorable.
This is a weird conversation. I don't think they're bad people, but everyone deserves to have a happy day. No, I think it's adorable. I really love Leo here, kind of doing the he looks so cute. And then we have Cub right behind him, who I remember I gave him the voice of Clyde Frog from South Park. So,
don't forget about Flapper, Steve.
Flapper. No, it's very cute, and I always liked the Tontadas. I really did. So just to see more of them, it was great. Delicious looking strawberry cake.
The
thing is, what was it?
He turned 9.
He was born on a leap year.
Yeah, there you go.
I honestly thought, and this is not knocking on Oda's style, but I really thought this was Nami at first because this looks like a similar pose to the one cover thing with Nami and the gorilla, like doing like a makeover. It just looked like that. It just reminded me of that for some reason. But,
He does draw his young women that way.
Yes. Want to read through the chapter now?
I'm ready. We start off in the mirror world in Brulee's house, where Carrot is being hung from the ceiling, and she's calling out for Chobro, help me, it's really hot. And Brulee has had enough of her whining and prattling, and she's like, don't eat me. There's a crocodile with a bowler hat on. He's like, I don't eat humans. I'm willing to lower my standards to try mink. I don't know why he's kind of like Fred Flintstone.
Hey, Fred.
In Barney Rubble.
this is the same alligator from before, right?
Yeah, that's right. He was in the woods, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Does he just freely walk into the mirror world?
He looks high. I mean,
well, if you notice, all the seducing woods characters are here. You got the crane
Really
guy,
just let them
rabbit
in.
guy. Yeah, I think she let them out, if anything, and now they're back. Yeah.
You also have this train man.
Thomas the Tank Engine cosplayer.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And also the pot has a face on it, so
The
Like a
pot,
big baby bullet.
the pot's face is my favorite part of this page.
but Chopper is he's yelling, he's let Carrot go. She's not a real rabbit. So really? Second thought, maybe I'll pass. And Brulee shouts, shut your mouth, you creepy reindeer. You're going right into the freak collection. Mama's freak collection. Chopper has... I love her face when she says that, too. She looks so happy. Chopper has his internal monologue of, okay, I've managed to get us this far. They tied me up in Heavy Point. I could just transform and slip out of these chains. And it's been 6 hours since I used Monster Point yesterday. So that's given some passage of time there. So he could do that, too. Carrot, on the other hand, is having her external monologue about how angry Pedro's going to be with her. And I guess is that Brulee saying, or is that the pot that's saying that once our broth is nice and ready, into the soup you go?
I'm pretty sure that's
it's
the
the
pot
pot.
because it's singing.
Yeah. Blub, 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 blub. So this is Chopper's chance. He's been beat pretty heavily too.
Yeah, I like the sort of strategy here that, Chopper is able to use his transformational powers to, just set up a quick and easy, like, physical escape. Like, okay, just make yourself huge, and they can only tie you down as far as your body will go, and so he can just turn himself tiny and get out of the chains when he needs to.
Fortunately,
very
the
clever.
chains are not like his pants, which accommodate him as he grows.
Yeah.
We now cut to Whole Cake Island, the capital, Sweet City. It's still raining outside, and it doesn't look like one of the buildings is too happy about it, particularly the one with the ice cream face.
It's Cookie Puss.
Actually, yeah, that does look a lot like Cookie Puss, of Carvel fame. And we are taken into Whole Cake Chateau, the library, where we see a whole crap ton of books, and Big Mom, as if spouting off a reading is good type infomercial on PBS. She says, "You see, within books you can find an infinite array of worlds." And Big Mom flips through a book, and she says, "Get a load of this! It's a man-eating, man-faced lion," which we all recognize from Steven's favorite arc in One Piece, Impel Down. So there's literally a manticore in this book. It's
A lecherous manticore.
That's right. And it's saying loincloth, 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 as is, that's what manticores do. They say panties and underwear, and that's all they can say.
Is he actually saying fundoshi in Japanese?
Yeah.
To assume? Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah. So apparently this one escaped after Blackbeard's attack on Impel Down 2 years ago. As the Vinsmokes look on in interest. And
Story time with the children and Big Mom.
Yeah. Everybody get out your carpet squares and a glass of milk. Talk to you all about manticores. I'm Big Mom. So she flips to a different page, and there is a it's a unicorn. It's a zebra with a horn. I was trying to really look carefully and make sure that was a real-looking horn. Yeah, I guess that is. Once again, pinned, a living unicorn pinned in the book. And Reiju says, "Oh well, it's close enough, but it's living inside the book." She remarks, and Big Mom mentions that yes, anything within a book is eternally ageless. It only makes sense because the contents don't change each time you open the pages. Which is actually true in real life, unless you burn the book. And as she's flipping through the pages of this same book of spectacular creatures, we see a kinokobito, which is a mushroom type creature. I don't think we've ever heard or seen one of this before.
No, but that would mean a mushroom man or mushroom person.
Yeah, kinoko is mushroom.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. And right next to it is a One Piece character we haven't seen in a long time. Completely devoid of all One Piece merch is completely devoid of this spectacular creature that I have a soft spot in my heart for. It's Doskoi Panda. That's right.
Which is a real thing, not just a mascot.
That's right. The one and only Doskoi Panda. And it looks like it's trying to saunter its way out of there, but nothing doing. It's pinned.
This
Thanks.
reminds me of that recent JoJo's episode where like there's that guy with the stand that can like put things into pieces of paper.
Oh yeah.
Well, unless that person is Charlotte Montdor, then I don't think we'll be seeing him in this particular series.
It's just like it's a very similar power, and it's like such a weird abstract idea.
Sure. That was what we would call a segue, Sam. You see.
Okay, fine.
Big Mom says that this is the power of Montdor, which we kind of could have guessed at this point. And she mentions that she's got rare specimens from all over the world sealed in the pages of all of these books. And you hear murmurs of, help me, and just you hear all sorts of, it must sound super creepy in there. It's like a big old prison of words and things.
Big Mom's face all throughout this. Fantastic.
Oh yeah, no, it's super good. I just can't get over how pro reading commercial this is. Like, who needs video games when you can get sucked into the world of books?
The magical world of reading.
Yeah.
Where everything is
I'm a
alive
micro
and
magician.
stapled to the page.
And probably living in anguish for the rest of their lives.
See, if only Sanji was a big book fan, because then, like, for putting to cheer him up, she could have pulled the whole Beauty and Beast thing, take him in the library, and like, I want to show you something. Sanji back, it's just a bunch of books.
Well, if Robin was here, that'd be a different story.
Yeah.
Steve, go ahead.
Sure. As Big Mom continues to go through her encyclopedia of crazy beasts, she says, here are my most recent acquisitions. A centaur from Punk Hazard, let me out! And a griffin from the South Blue, quack! Oh, and get a load of this, a mix of long arms and long legs. I guess you'd call it a long limbs human. Oh, God, please help me. And this is
Even
Nietzsche,
the
right?
Vince Smokes find this morally repugnant.
Which is really hypocritical on their part.
Yeah, even Nietzsche's like, your book is made of people.
Well, look, warmongering, that's a different story. Books though, literacy, that's going too far.
And then Judge interrupts us. From the moment we entered your lands, we've seen quite the vast assortment of peoples, and Big Mom was like, oh, of course you have. That's the entire point of Tota Land. But Judge says, but I couldn't help but notice that a particular species has been suspiciously absent, one that would stand out above the rest. Pun intended.
Literally.
And he said, I also must note that Big Mom is kind of twirling over to respond to Judge, and it's pretty cute. And he says, there are no giants. And it immediately from glee turns to a harsh glare.
She's so pissed.
That is such a great 2 panels right there, just between those.
And even the hat is like, yo, man. Like,
No, man, why would you say that?
and just continues to rub it in. For a nation that professes to house all the species, I find it odd that I've not seen a single giant, only just really, really big people.
Now, here's a question. Is this the first time that, like, just large humans have been addressed in One Piece? Just like, oh, yeah, this is just a thing.
Kind of not.
I
know, like, when they
rolled
met
with it.
Aokiji, they're just like, whoa, he's taller than a normal person.
Yeah, and Bellamy too, and Doflamingo is a tall drink of water.
Well, I mean, like, we've seen them, but, like, this is the first time I think I've seen anybody actually mention it. Like, oh, well, okay, at
They've
least
never
have some
been called a
acknowledgement.
large human, yeah.
Yeah, like, people are, like, 7 feet tall. Like, how tall is Robin? Like, 6'5", 6'6"?
She's like 6'2", I think.
That's not a super large human.
Yeah, that one's not like supernatural.
That's like
or
the
anything.
worst of the examples we could have come up with there.
Well, look, I'm really short, so that's super tall to me.
I'm 6'4", so what do you think I am? Like a giant?
Yes.
Oh, we got another tall guy.
Wait, we have
you're
three
like the
people on this
third-
podcast who are 6'4".
That's great. You're like the third tallest person on this podcast.
It's the new height order of podcasting, brother.
Oh shit.
We're taking over.
Steve,
We're bullying all you shorties.
It's pronounced shotties.
And Big Mom tries to cover up with like, "Oh, is that so? Probably just a coincidence. You haven't seen one yet. They're sleeping. They're I'm surprised she didn't go with that excuse.
She's actually trying to cover her tracks.
Yeah. So and then one cohort comes in and he's like, "Mama." It's like, "Mama, we brought the two you wanted." And she's like, "Well, I hate to leave you on that note, but it's a very busy day." He's like, "That's something we'll have to discuss later. I'm sure you'll see some giants." I'm ad-libbing way too much this week. She says, "Hope you have a lovely afternoon despite the weather." And she's like, "What the hell's the matter with you?" He's like, "Oh, sorry, I just get kind of nervous." And she glares once again. Oh, I love Big Mom in profile. I love the shape of her nose.
Yeah.
It's super sexy. I mean, what?
From a design point of view.
It's a giant banana.
Well, it's kind of like Blackbeard used to kind of have like a funky nose like that, and then he just
It's like a toucan's beak.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and toucans are cool. Speaking of cool, so this guy says it's hard to keep my cool next to the super coolness of the real German 6'6". That's a segue. Especially Ichiji and Reiju. And she's like,
I'm choosing to believe that heart means that he's into both of them.
Oh yeah.
Which is totally acceptable.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying
He's just hoping that's
we got a guy who's into some people.
She says,
I think that's cool. And I wanted to point it out.
And shut your mouth. And speaking of shutting your mouth, Big Mom also says, "Shut your mouth." That's a segue. She says, "Don't be a dummy." Don't be offended. I was just really trying to make that work.
Yeah, Sam, come back here. Where are you going?
Don't catch the bus.
He's going on the plane.
Oh, he's gone.
Okay, go ahead.
Deactivates Facebook.
How do you buy a plane ticket that short notice?
She says that stupid comic strip has rotted your brains. Images and everything. It's what on the inside that counts. As we see the Vince folks kind of just left on their own as Yonji gets creeped out by some sort of dinosaur in the book.
It's a Translatosaurus.
Hi-oh.
Translatosaurus Rex. You can see.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Actually, before we go on, I have a really cool note. So in the top corner of the panel, you'll see that there's another instance of, I guess that maybe Yonji again, like checking out a different creature. And if you look, what you can see before the text goes off the screen is Wanippo. And it's probably short for Wanipoi something, which means croc-ish, like a croc-ish thing or a croc-ish reptile or something like that.
Oh, like the chapter title.
Yes, Wanipoi was the thing that Luffy said when he was like sniffing around in Alabasta for the for wherever Crocodile was, and he saw the entrance to the crypt and was like, "That smells crockish," and that was the word that he used, which I was like, "Oh, that's funny."
That's really cool. Yeah, that's a cool little callback. We never get those in One Piece. Also, comic books don't rot your brain, right? I mean, she's wrong about that, right? No?
It rots your brain and weakens the resolve of our allies.
Oh man, it makes you into criminals.
We go to the next page. Speaking of those, we're in the prison library in the Whole Cake Chateau. I assume it's not that far away, but I don't know.
No. That's it's the same room. I assume that's
So-
just
so
now,
Big
that,
Mom
now that
won't-
we understand. Now that we understand that it is actually where they keep where they imprison creatures and people and stuff.
To be
That's
fair,
what it is.
the prisoners get treated better than the animals and the people, I assume, who have a spear literally stuck into them. And also, why won't Big Mom just come over to this room then? It seems, but whatever, we'll get to that, I guess. Anyway, so they lost the page in which they have kept something, and we see Bobbin, we see Montdor, Perospero, Opera, and I forget the last name. Colette, thank you. And it's on page 55. Does that hold any significance, Stephen?
I not that I recall.
Okay. And we cut to Perospero, who is being his creepy, weird, whatever the hell he is self, saying he likes the look on those faces. And we see that those faces are Nami and Luffy, and they're not happy faces. Nami is yelling for, first, where are they? What is this room? And where's the shower? Because they're sticky and gross from the syrup. Which had been
You can see
raining
what's on that page there. It's the beginning of Monkey D. Luffy and Nami on the page opposite the bars.
That's cool. And we go to the bottom of the page as do we have a Perospero voice that someone's been doing?
I did one, but it's wildly inconsistent.
I mean, you could go for it if you want. I don't know.
This always sounds like your tongue stuck out.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh, that is. Why be like,
Give it to Zach. Give it to Zach.
Make it yours, Zach.
That's it. Anyway,
I like
it's harder to speak with your tongue out of your mouth than you think. Nami is pissed, and Luffy is also pissed. As they bring over a transponder snail because Big Mom does not want to come over there, even though she's in the next room or something. And because of, stature or whatever it is. Luffy yells out to Big Mom, asking to get out of there and saying he'll destroy everything in his way. And Nami's just curious about the transponder snail, and she laughs as she normally does, ma. And saying, you're still pretty feisty. But I noticed you didn't come with your entire crew, so I was afraid that you'd forgotten the promise at Fishman Island, which Luffy says, don't worry, I'll pound you flat someday, but for now we're just here to get Sanji back. And Mike, want to continue us on the next page?
Yeah. All right. So then Luffy, in typical Luffy fashion, screams back, if you want to fight, then bring it right now, Big Mom. And he's going to take her on right then and there, even though he's been beaten the hell out of already, and he's locked up in prison. And then Mama,
Still missing that tooth.
forever.
Yeah.
R.I.P. that tooth. And then Mama goes on to say, don't get so full of yourself. And she reminds him that he's just a rookie in the new world. And the rest of her crew looks onwards and laughing at Luffy and how Mama treats him. So she says to him that she doesn't think that he is worth even her time. It's not even like, doesn't even deserve an audience. She doesn't have to get involved with you to get killed. It's just a long talking scene with the transponder snail. But she says to Luffy, if he forgets about Sanji, then she'll let him walk out, and him and Nami. So all that matters to her, it looks like, is Sanji and Pudding's wedding, because it holds a very special meaning to her. And at any rate, I need you to stay put here until everything is finished. If you rob me of my delight, then I get a really good profile shot of Big Mom with her crazy eyes. Then you're really gonna regret it. I think it's probably my favorite panel in this entire issue.
Yeah,
It looks great. Yeah.
It's a really beautiful piece.
Oda does great with I don't know if you call this a silhouette, but the darker colors, the darker black. There's no colors there.
It's a close up.
Yes, thank you, Ed.
Yeah.
Mike, continue.
She goes on to remind Luffy about what happened on Fishman Island when he ate all the sweets that are meant to be shipped to her, and he gave all of King Neptune's treasure to me as a sign of contrition, And flashback to Luffy. You can have all of our payment for the sweets. And Mama goes, Mama, Mama, Mama. What do you think was among those chests? Ha ha ha. You can't ask back for it now.
And inevitably, Stephen.
And yes, now she's like, haha, well, it turns out one of the things you gave to me is a special chest handed down on Fishman Island throughout the generations, the legendary Tamate box. And yeah, she is just she is beside herself at her good luck. Why would he let something like that slip through his fingers, old Neptune? This is a national treasure of Fishman Island. Who could even guess what's inside that thing? And,
Steven, can you give our listeners a little refresher course of what might be inside that thing?
Well, wait, let me finish this speech.
Fine.
She happens to love treasure chests. And so that, so I was willing to let the whole thing with the sweets slide. But now I'm going to open that sucker up at the tea party tomorrow, right in front of everyone. Oh, it'll be so much fun. And yes, it is true. The ancient memes were true. The prophecy has come to pass. Oda has set us up the bomb.
The ancient memes.
Yes. Yes, this is the thing. It was funny. I guess, we've been talking about this for so long that, I just assumed that everybody remembered this, but even Alexi was like, what do you think is inside that box? And I was like, wait a second, am I misremembering this? And I had to go back and confirm that, yes, there was a scene where Neptune and the one of the ministers was talking about how, Hody Jones had stolen the energy steroids, the evil drugs, as they were known, from the Tamate box, and they surmised that it was called a legendary treasure, like as a means to keep people from opening it. Like, this is very valuable. This is not for the likes of anyone to open. And there was just these weird, pills inside that were being kept safe there. And so they decided, all right, well, now that it's empty, we should trap this. We'll put an explosive inside, and that way, if someone tries to steal them again, they're going to get what's coming to them. And then, of course, Luffy, as we just saw, as we were just reminded, he sent these off to Big Mom when there was the hullabaloo with her sweets factory at the end of Fishman Island. And at long last, here it is, back in the story. Has not been opened. So it is ripe for dramatic possibility.
You could say it'll be a real blast.
It is, yes, the results will be explosive.
Oh my god!
That tea party will be the bomb.
I think I'm going to fire both of you. No, go ahead.
Now, I guess so. In Japanese mythology, the Tamatobako box is a when you open it makes you super old, right?
Yeah, that was what it did in the legend of Urashima Taro, who is the human who saved the turtle, and the turtle took him all the way down to the Dragon Palace, the Ryugujo underground, and there, he was. He basically lived. He didn't realize how long he was down there for, like many years or something like that. And it was sort of like a, Portrait of Dorian Gray thing where they gave him the box when they let him go, and they were like, okay, now just whatever you do, don't open this box. And he came back, and like nobody that he remembered was there. It was like Rip Van Winkle sort of a thing. Right. And then without, at a loss for what to do, he opens the box, and then he immediately ages like 300 years or whatever it is. And so, yeah, I know we definitely went over all of these things at the time in Fishman Island, but that's kind of how Oda, retooled the elements of the story of Urashima Taro into the Fishman Island story arc.
To be fair, how long ago was Fishman Island?
Yeah, that was several
4 years ago, I think.
At least,
yeah. I was actually looking at my volumes. I'm like, oh my god, there's almost been 20 volumes since the time skip started, which is bizarre to me. But I can't figure out if now the reason that Hody and company got old was because of the energy steroids and not because of the fact that they actually opened the box.
Right.
Right.
Well, because the the legend in the One Piece world is like, because I think there were like multiple rumors. Like some people heard that the chest made you like super powerful. Some people heard that the chest made you old. It turns out the energy steroids actually do both.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I couldn't figure out if that was the result of the energy steroids themselves consuming them, or if the box had a magical property to it. That was just my
No.
Yeah, it's the
I think
pills,
it's that element is done now. So this is just a bomb in a box, and
Bomb in
she's
a
going to
box.
open it. Yep, she's going to open it at the worst possible moment, or the best possible moment, depending on your point of view.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder how powerful this bomb is.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I would hope that it's really powerful, because otherwise this would be a real letdown. Talking about this thing for 4 years. But Big Mom is real excited about this. She's going to have so much fun at this tea party and wedding and all that stuff. And Luffy's like, no, you're not. You're not going to have fun, because Sanji's not getting married. And that reminds him of Pudding, and he's like, he starts talking about, let's talk to Pudding. We want to see Pudding. She's our friend, and Nami kind of belatedly tries to get him off of that subject, but Big Mom, of course, has already heard. She's like, friend, yeah, you don't be an idiot. Why would you be friends with the bride to be? She's not. It seems like she doesn't buy this. Like maybe she thinks Luffy is lying. But then she brings up the fact that she has heard that this girl, Nami, has killed Lola. That's what the forces assumed when they saw her Vivre card, and that's what they told Big Mom. And Nami is outraged by this, because of course she didn't kill Lola. She was friends with Lola. It was a sign of friendship. And we get a flashback to when Lola gave her the Vivre card and told her to use it whenever she's in trouble. Find my mama and let her know I'm doing fine. Which Nami the message Nami relays to Big Mom, and she says she told us her mother was a great pirate, but I never would have guessed that it was Big Mom, thus proving that every One Piece reader is smarter than Nami, apparently. But this was supposed to be our get out of jail free card, and Mama says, "You gotta be joking," and Nami is taken aback by this. What?
Don't be ridiculous.
Alex.
Yeah. And Big Mom continues, I don't care if she's doing all right. She should be dead. She implores Nami to tell her where she is. She'll send hitmen right there to get rid of her for good. She cannot believe that Lola still thinks of them as mother and daughter, which I think is dumb, because a dumb thing to ask, because the last time Nami saw Lola was 2 years ago, and nobody's going to stay on Thriller Bark, which is also a moving island anyway. So
No, we know they're on Water 7. They were seen in the bar.
we know. Nami doesn't know that.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah. Unless Nami's reading Jump, and she's like, oh, look, Dex of the World, check it out. I wonder what our friends are up to. Oh, they're having a drink. So this is where it gets super interesting. Big Mom explains that this is an example of a parent and a child not seeing eye to eye. Lola spurned the greatest political marriage I ever set up and ran off. So basically, she basically ran out on a really important marriage. And Big Mom will never forgive her for that. Nami is incredibly shocked by all of this information, of course. And here we have some flashbacks from Thriller Bark. It's Lola talking about marriage. You can marry me, especially you. Want to get hitched? Hey, I want to marry Absalom. I have a crush on every boy. And then at the end we have a nice moment between Lola and Nami. Nami and Lola give each other a hug, and Lola calls Nami her sister. And of course, this flashes back in Nami's mind, all of it. And Big Mom continues, if only she had done what I had said and gotten married. Oh, the power I'd have gained. I'd have
Unlimited power.
I would have already destroyed Kaido and Red Hair and even Whitebeard. By this point, ...
So many different possibilities.
So yeah,
Maybe it's aliens.
Big Mom is lamenting all the things that she was never able to do because this political marriage fell through, including her belief that she would have already been the king of the pirates, as she announces with a big booming voice, and we even like cut far back just to really feel like her voice is reaching far and wide. Nami is very kind of scared out of her mind right now because Big Mom seems just really on edge about this whole conversation, and she's telling Nami, "So Nami, the cat burglar, friend to Lola, you're gonna tell me where she is." And this is when Luffy pipes up, just saying, "This is a stupid story, Big Mom." Just like very, very casually. It's like, this is dumb. You listen to yourself, seriously. It was Lola who didn't get married, and it was you who failed to become king of the pirates, which I'm just like, fuck, Luffy.
You big failure. You're the failure.
Here I am.
No failure. You're the failure.
Here I am picking another fight with you. I'm not backing down just because you're one of the 4 emperors. I'm going to take Sanji back, and at the end of the day, we're going to win. And like, I think this is just like such an awesome scene where, because like Luffy is so beaten down right now. Like he's like his whole defeat to Big Mom's crew, like there's a real sadness that he's like going through right now, but he's channeling it into like this anger and like this just really being the straight shooter that Luffy has always been. And then we cut to a guest room where Sanji is sort of by the windowsill, and he's sort of covering his head and leaning down. He's just like, "Please, everyone, please just pull back and leave safely." And then we hear the announcement of an intruder as we see a kaboom going on outside, and some of Big Mom's crew, including Baron Tamago, are chasing these people. And one of the henchmen notes that it's a tiger mink, but Tamago is quick to correct him that it's actually a jaguar. And Baron Tamago is saying,
"What's this bit?"
That's a running joke that every time someone refers to Pedro, they're like, "Oh, it's a leopard" or something, and he has to keep correcting them that he's a jaguar. It's pretty funny.
and Baron Tamago is saying, Pedro, I knew you would with infiltrare or something. Is that how you say it?
Mm-hmm. Ed, can you give us the accurate
castle?
pronunciation here?
Yeah.
Yes.
I can
Pedro, I knew you would infiltrate the castle.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Lovely.
I'm glad we have a real Frenchman here.
And so we finished the chapter off with Brook having made his way into the castle, Pedro probably having succeeded in distracting the guards, so Brook can sneak in, and now he's saying, "I think it's time to commence a very special live performance," and he is unsheathing his sword. So I think by performance, I think he's going to cut some dudes.
No, he's going to play the guitar.
No, we're going to have magic disco dreams like we did in Fishman Island.
I hope so.
He hasn't done that for a while, has he?
No.
He is, and I want to see that again.
That's the chapter. Does anyone have an electric guitar they could? No. So that's chapter 847. Thoughts? I want to start with you, Steven. What do you think?
Ooh, yeah, it's this is a really, really good chapter. I feel like, in addition to the really obvious big stuff, like, okay, the box is back. We finally have that acknowledged. Like I said on the podcast here, we all knew that was lurking somewhere in this arc and was going to come into play somehow. And now it has been introduced. It's whatever Occam's box or what is it? Chekhov's box. Thank you, Ed. And so that is nice to see mentioned, and it'll be fun to see how that ends up being used. I feel like one of the biggest things about this chapter is I feel like we saw a lot about Big Mom's. I don't know if her motivations necessarily, but kind of her state of mind here. This all of these creatures that she has held captive in her books definitely seems to align with her stated goal about bringing everything together and kind of having everything here. It kind of makes that seem a little more ominous. I mean, obviously she's a villain type character, so we should have known that her her country and having all of the peoples of the world represented there was not necessarily a purely altruistic one, and you kind of get a sense of like an ownership feeling that she maybe has about them. And also, you can see that, this thing about the giants is really a sore point with her, and I'm really curious now to see like where does this fit in? We know that she wants Caesar to be able to turn everything into a giant. Like, what is it about her, either her backstory or her motivations, that has to do with giants, and how does that explain stuff? That was a really fascinating detail for me about this chapter.
Luffy has giant allies, so
yes, he does.
Cool. Ed, what were your thoughts on this chapter?
Oh, I enjoyed it a lot. I do wonder, like, the most about what this political marriage that Lola was supposed to be in was. Maybe it's giants, aliens. Like, who knows? It could be aliens.
It was entering.
That would be awesome, actually. But giants seems more likely. But I'm really digging Luffy's sort of state of mind here, where he's basically saying that you've had all this time. I'm an upstart, but you're this big established person, and you're really nowhere closer to being Pirate King than I am. Like, no failure. You're the failure. Like, you failed to become Pirate King all this time. We're gonna take Sanji back, and we're gonna win. Like, you've been failing to become the Pirate King all this time. So it's
she's a fictional character, and she can't hear you trolling her.
I don't know. I enjoyed that a lot. I enjoyed Luffy's attitude. I enjoyed Big Mom not really used to like people actually standing up to her, because I feel like a lot of people sort of crumble under the auspices of like being confronted by an emperor. Everyone sort of acquiesces to her or is like immediately crushed.
Yeah,
and Luffy
that's why she didn't exactly respond to it. She didn't respond to that right away.
We cut away before she was able to. Yeah.
Or it's more like Luffy's like, "Hey, I'm picking up a fight with you. I'm sorry, I don't understand your phrasing. Pick fight me."
Yeah. And there's also the needling of like, I wonder if Judge is being intentional with how he's talking to her. Although I don't know, it's hard to tell. Maybe he's just oblivious, but he doesn't seem like the kind of guy who would be like oblivious in that situation to like something that would annoy her. Like, he's trying to piss her off just a little bit. I'm not sure. But there's also the aspect of what's going on with Chopper and Carrot. Like, how are they going to get themselves out of this sticky situation? Like, Chopper might get some time to shine here. But it also could coincide with what's happening with Pedro and Brooke. So that could be like a distraction that also helps Chopper out as well.
That's what I call a sticky situation.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's raining sticky outside, so I enjoyed this chapter so much.
Mike, what are your thoughts?
I really liked it. I'm still kind of weary about the bomb, because I mean, it's an emperor. I mean, this has got to be one hell of a bomb to actually make an impact on her. Yeah. So I don't know, because it just seemed like an average like Acme Coyote bomb they put in that.
Well, remember how important the cake was to her, so it's possible that it'll just ruin the cake.
I feel like it's going to serve more as a catalyst to just it's like the powder keg. It's like the thing that just sets off like instant chaos, rather than necessarily like it's gonna explode her and literally kill her. I don't think that's gonna happen, but something crazy is gonna happen.
I just want to say one thing that I did want to mention before we move on is that I'm still a little disappointed in how sort of sad sack Sanji is being throughout all of this. Like, he doesn't really have like, his lack of faith in Luffy is actually
disturbing,
disappointing. Okay. It's disappointing.
Yeah.
But I'm willing to let it play out. But it does say a lot for like the general response to Big Mom, is that this is how people generally react to her. They give her what she wants. Luffy isn't going to do that, but I feel like Sanji should know Luffy well enough to know that he wouldn't do that. Like he didn't do it. Like he didn't do it in
Ever.
ever, and especially he didn't do it in Water 7 or Marineford. Although he was technically defeated in Marineford and Ace did die. So, he's never going to give up. He might lose, but.
Mike, sorry, my fault. I interrupted there. Thoughts on the chapter? Yeah.
Oh, it's all good. No, I mean that and the bomb, and then Brooke, because I'm so excited to finally have some Brooke action. I'm jonesing for it.
Yeah.
Cool. Sam, I agree. I agree.
I love this chapter. I think this is the chapter where like Big Mom has really just unlocked. Like I think Oda's really, really nailed her personality at this point. Because there's just like something so motivated, but also so petty about her. I think she's just going to be like just so fun as and now she like properly feels like a villain. Like that we were always talking like, oh, is she going to be a villain? Is she going to end up allying with the Straw Hats? And right now it's looking like that's not the case. And just the idea that Luffy is still going to keep fighting this fight. Just like something about this chapter really makes so much of this arc work, in my opinion. Like, because now I'm starting to really see the sort of the progression that's sort of we're working towards here. Because Luffy's still like way weaker than an emperor, but I feel like there's now room in this arc for something just like really massive and like world changing to happen as a result of Luffy trying to get his crewmate back. And I think this is a really fun and unique way of using that sort of common plot device in One Piece to really like do something pretty cool in this story. And there's still also that kind of conversation of like, like our Big Mom and Judge going to fall out by some point in this arc. Is like, I don't know. There's so many like possibilities that I'm seeing like opening up now, and it's because like Big Mom now just makes so much sense to me as a villain.
I like what you just said about Big Mom's personality. Of her just kind of having these, I guess, being a highly motivated character in certain ways. Because, like, if you compare her to Doflamingo, he was a very much like a plotting character. Mm-hmm. He was always like, intricately crafting some machination or another.
Big Mom was very feelings based.
Yeah, well, it's she has like this drive to do things that are not necessarily just like all about lording it over, the heroes or something like that, which I don't know. I don't necessarily say it's like endearing or cute or something like that, but it's just kind of funny that she has like this drive.
It's admirable, I guess.
Yeah, to do certain things that aren't just about like, oh, I'm just going to commit evil. She's driven by certain motivations that are not just about kind of stewing in her own rage against the world like Doflamingo did.
And also, I mean, and to draw the further comparison with Doflamingo, Doflamingo I think was always aware of his limitations, in that he could be like one of the strongest people, but he could never be the real top. He could never be stronger than Kaido. He could never be like the king of the pirates type of deal.
Well, he's also Doflamingo is someone who's pretty unflappable in just his personality. I think like even when Luffy beats him, he doesn't like get super like emotional one way or the other. So it's first off really nice to see a villain with many different emotional states.
Right.
It's like comparing to Doflamingo, I think there's just a lot of differences, which I think is refreshing. Alex, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, this was a really great chapter in terms of everything everybody said. Honestly, Big Mom is more and more becoming a threat and an enemy that seems to have very imposing stakes. And I think it's actually kind of interesting that like we do see her motivations a little bit, and they do seem sort of selfish. She reminds me of like a big, gigantic grown-up version of Veruca Salt from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Like this is what happens when a spoiled little girl gets everything she wants. She just keeps wanting more and more until she gets everything.
She wants it now.
She does. And I think
don't care how.
And I think it's interesting that Judge is in the picture too, and we've seen that Judge is also another like inscrutable, like opposing force. And this is like the first time I can think of, in recent memory anyway, that we've had two villains kind of teaming up, so to speak, that were just so deliciously terrible people. With these are villains that we've never met before this arc at that, which really speaks to, I think, the overall quality that this arc has had so far, and that it's going to have.
So you're saying that they're more charismatic than Hody and Vanderdecken?
Yeah, I mean, I know that was, of course, of course, that's by a lot. Jesus, like this is the first time in the time skip that I think I mentioned this chapters ago that I felt there have been stakes, and yeah, that opinion is definitely not wavering. My what I got out of this chapter the most is the political marriage. Like who in the world was Lola betrothed to? Of course, Giants is the easy guess because of Big Mom's reaction to what Judge said. But I don't know. Like if the Giants were so important, like in that regard. I mean, like I guess we don't really know much about the Giants, do we? Right?
Yeah.
We just know that they're from Elbaf, but we don't know what kind of military force.
Not all Giants are from Elbaf. Like Saul didn't like the Giants from Elbaf, so
That's true.
Is that so?
Yeah.
Mm.
Anyway,
So-
Steve, Alex, if you have any more thoughts.
Yeah. So I was trying to put together a crackpot theory about Lola's betrothed, and I just kept thinking back to one of my favorite Frankie moments where she proposes to Frankie at the end of Thriller Bark, and he declines politely, saying, I'm too super. We wouldn't be a good match," which I love. And I thought to myself, like, that'd be funny if that was like a poetic thing where she was just supposed to be married to Frankie somehow. Because I will never forget that what Zanbai said at the end of Water 7, that Frankie's father was a famous pirate, which never ever gets talked about again. And and I don't know. I feel like I'm not necessarily saying that that's going to come up, but it's food for thought.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Steve, what are your thoughts?
I feel like we've been talking for a while, and now I forget. Was who Lola was supposed to, who Lola was engaged to originally? Has that been discussed other than what Dude has just said? Because
That was it.
I thought it was aliens. I mean, I'm not saying it's aliens, but
this was something I talked with Brian too about, and since he's not here, I'll steal his thunder. And I'm totally backing this. We're talking about Giants so much. Do you think that Lola was engaged to someone from Elbaf? Someone
I think that was
of
brought
royalty.
up. I think that was implicitly brought up during the recap itself. I think it's plausible, if not likely, kind of just taking the narrative kind of implications.
Because all these things, the fact that there are no Giants on here, and Lola being previously engaged, it can't be a coincidence that both of these bombshells are dropped in this chapter. It's funny when my first reaction to it was just like, oh yeah, because she wants to make everyone big. That's why she's mad. I'm like, nah. I think this is something bigger than that.
Do you think that?
she's like, I don't need Giants. I'll make my own Giants. Screw them.
Oh,
Yeah.
now that's interesting. See, I was about to bring up, well, maybe she was in talks with Dragon or somebody at the Revolutionary Army. But I think she would have definitely brought it up if Luffy was there. Since
I think Ed's
son of Dragon.
off the cuff theory is probably the reason. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I think this is tied into Elbaf and Giants.
You're saying that she doesn't actually want or care about having a tea party with everybody.
I think the way she could have a tea party with everyone is so that she could get a giant, but she can't actually get the giants because something happened involving Lola or something else. Yeah.
Or she wants the Giants to get down to her level.
Doesn't she want them to be bigger?
Yeah,
she's not
as
she wants people to be her size.
Right.
She's not the size of a giant.
Oh fuck, that's right.
Anyway,
she needs the rebigulating chemical, whatever from Caesar.
There was one other thing I just want to mention. Alex said, this is like the first real arc of the New World that has stakes, and I definitely tend to agree, unless you count the steak and salad theory, but that's different. And
well, when you think about the bigger picture, Dressrosa, it's funny enough because I had a discussion with Greg last night.
You're just talking to everyone.
Yeah, and talking about some One Piece and something he said, and I think it's totally true. Was like Dressrosa, it was more so, it was the plight of the people and of the former royalty of Dressrosa than it was for the Straw Hats. The Straw Hats were just wrapped up in it. And now I know this has happened previously, but I think that's the difference between Dressrosa and this arc, where Sanji is very much involved in this struggle. So I would definitely agree that this does feel like there's way more stakes.
Well, plus too, if you think about all the stuff once they got up to the surface, we did Punk Hazard, which was basically just a prelude to going to Dressrosa and dealing with Doflamingo. And even that, I mean, obviously, Doflamingo was a menacing villain in his own sense, and he had his own evil plots and whatnot. But purportedly kind of the plot reason for them to do that, or at least the thing they were trying to do, involved the implicit threat of Kaido coming in and wrecking, Doflamingo's stuff. And we didn't even see Kaido until after the whole arc was over. And so it's kind of hard to get that sense of the real, the fire that they're playing with by doing all of this stuff. And, there were some great, speeches by Doflamingo about how the world's going to go out of order and all that stuff. But it was hard to fully rationalize or to kind of appreciate the stakes that Oda was trying to insinuate in the moment. But yeah, this, especially because it involves a crew member, but it just seems like he's making it a lot more immediate here, in a way that is a lot more thrilling, I would say.
I mean, with the crew,
that's the way you said it. Yeah. That just happened to me. I kind of completely forgot that it plays in the whole Kaido thing. But yeah, when you're running away from a birdcage, you kind of forget about that.
Right.
Yeah.
Not so week on weekend, or sorry, I don't know what phrase. Just week after week, just belittle Dressrosa. I mean, I would just brought it up through comparison. But yeah, you kind of do forget that this kind of plays into the whole Kaido thing and the underworld and all that.
Well, where I was going is this is the first point in the arc also. So not only are there stakes, but we also now finally have the budding of values between Luffy and the antagonist, which we did get in Dressrosa too. And we get in most arcs. And so I think this is that moment near the end of the chapter where Luffy says, look, you can make all the excuses you want. We're going to be king. I'm going to be king of the pirates. We're going to win. You aren't king of the pirates, so you have nothing to complain about. You're done.
What's really cool about this chapter was Luffy really making a name for himself, because I think Big Mom is really shrugging off Luffy.
Oh yeah.
She goes more in a tirade about Loa than Luffy defeating Cracker, and Luffy's just like, hey, future king of the pirates here, hello, your story's dumb, I hate you.
Yeah, I love how he reacts to Big Mom. He's like, hey, Big Mom, that story's stupid. You're stupid. You're gonna have any fun.
Every story has a beginning, middle, and an end.
I enjoyed this chapter. The only critique I could give it is the same one Ed gave it, which is the Sanji wallowing on the windowsill. It's that plotline starting to really piss me off. The more it goes, the come on, Sanji, you know better. I mean, that's really all there is to it. But on the other hand, I think every other character is shining very brightly in this chapter. And I'm really excited to see what's happening with Brooke and what's
Yeah, I
happening
was
with
good.
Patreon.
I also want to say that any more Brooks screen time is much appreciated.
Especially
he needs it.
Especially when his stardom may come into play there. So that's going to do it for our manga recap, which was some manga recap. Let's get into the next segment. Are you guys ready?
Sure am.
Okay.
Today's episode of the One Piece podcast is sponsored by Right Stuf. The Right Stuf annual holiday sale is finally here, and there are new items added daily. You could save up to 95% off on DVDs, Blu-rays, books, merchandise, and a lot more. This week, Viz is doing specials every single week. This week is One Punch Man and Tokyo Ghoul, each at 40% off, and also Ranma 1/2. The Blu-ray for that is 50% off. There's over 1,197 products up for sale at this moment.
That's a lot of products.
Main sale. Yeah. So Ed, what are you looking forward to buying this holiday season?
Well,
Besides One Piece, obviously, guys.
I don't know if there's much One Piece stuff I haven't already bought. The new things, though, obviously looking to continue buying Monster. I've been paused on reading that for a while because I've been busy lately, but now that it's going to be cold outside and there's nothing to do outside, so it's time to start reading again. So I'll be looking forward to buying that, and also the new editions of all the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure manga that are coming out. I've dived deep into the anime of that over the Thanksgiving weekend. I watched about 30 episodes in 4 days, and I'm almost caught up with where part 4 is airing in the simulcast. So I think I'd like to go back and read the beginning of that manga. So I can buy that on RightStuf.com. And if you buy, especially when buying manga, you can really trust Right Stuf with the appropriate packaging, because sometimes, especially Amazon's all right with the packaging, but other retailers, I've had problems. I've had damaged books before, but never with Right Stuf.
And Monster, I just finished, is a great series. I would highly recommend it. I'm excited to hear your thoughts as you get back into that. The One Punch Man manga is also a manga that I've been reading through, and I think I'm going to be taking advantage of this sale. You could get 9 manga volumes of One Punch Man for $50, which is just about half off. That's a pretty damn amazing deal. Volume 10's also around half off. It's $5.99 for Volume 10. So that one I might have to take advantage of. Yeah, and it looks beautiful in print as it does digitally. It's probably one of the best looking manga series you could find, so definitely pick that up if you haven't. You could check out the link if you don't know it. It's rightstufanime.com. You could also check it out on our website, onepiecepodcast.com. You'll see a link at the top of the website, so check it out. Again, that's rightstufanime.com for new items added daily, daily.
For all the holiday Christmas gifts for all the weebs in your life. That's not a term of derision. It's a term of love.
Good catch. Check out.
I'm serious. It's you go to Right Stuf. You're weebing out.
We'll see you there.
Hey everybody, this is the post-Kabuki segment live from the TCL Chinese Theater. We're actually recording this in the lobby because, we were just joking before off mic. I'll just make the joke again that Zach is probably not going to appreciate the audio quality too much, but
whatever, it sounds fine.
There's too much background noise, but I thought, hey, while we have everyone together, and this is while it's still fresh in our minds, we're going to talk about the One Piece Kabuki show we just came out seeing, the movie presentation of it, not an actual live performance, but you know the drill. Today, of course, I'm Steve in the segment. I've always been Steve, but I'm Steve, and I'm joined by Dennis.
Hello, yes, Dennis, aka Itchnob.
Yep, and Brian.
Brian Newton, Stuff.
And Jill.
And Jill.
And we have one extra
guest joining
one
us.
Of our fans.
Hi, I'm Abigail Carvajal. I piece a tweet every now and then, so I'm sure you heard my name on the podcast, and I'm super psyched to be on this.
Oh, yeah.
And my friends Andrew and Mike are also here.
Hi! Mike couldn't care less.
Yeah. But... So, I don't want to get too much in the backstory of this. I just know that the Japan Foundation here in LA were able to get their hands on the movie presentation of the One Piece Kabuki show from how many years ago was it?
This was just last year.
Was it only last year? Okay.
But the run stopped at the official stage show.
Yes, and this thing was originally run at like 3-something hours long.
Yeah.
And they condensed it to about like, what is it, an hour and a half?
2 hours.
2
2 hours?
Good job of it.
Yeah.
Oh, I wanted to see the whole thing.
So badly.
Not in those seats though. My ass was starting to hurt a little bit.
It would be intermissions.
Yeah, that's the thing. So yeah, it was a Kabuki adaptation of pretty much the Shibondi Archipelago arc through the end of Marineford.
Which, for anyone who has both watched the episodes or read the volumes, that's a lot to condense in 3 hours.
That's one Dressrosa.
That's the next show.
Oh
God.
Joke.
It's.
I don't know. I would like to see that Kabuki show now.
I wouldn't mind
person?
either,
Definitely
especially
perfect for it.
if they just condense it to 3 hours
It's a
instead
water
of
show,
one whole
and
year.
then the newcomer interact with you.
And Korra in the water and then sets it on fire.
Yeah, Corazon Kabuki.
Actually on fire.
Oh man, I would love to see a Doflamingo Kabuki outfit. That would be pretty
Oh,
baller.
how awesome would Zoro versus Pika be in Kabuki?
Okay.
Oh God.
All right, let's talk about the actual Kabuki thing that happened that we watched, and not our
Yeah.
dream Kabuki that we want to end up
I
having.
mean, we're not going to like recite the whole entire thing. You know the story, but this was just like a Kabuki adaptation of it. And I take it none of you guys have seen anything Kabuki before.
I'm familiar enough with the presentation, but this is my first live show.
I think we all are just somewhat familiar.
Yeah,
with Kabuki.
I got to see a 30-minute Kabuki segment on NHK one time because they show it on basic TV,
Yeah.
and I was like,
You were the only one watching.
this might be helpful for the One Piece Kabuki. I'm not sure.
It
It was kind of helpful.
Yeah.
I took a course in Japanese anthropology in college. That's it.
Well.
All right.
I'm just a Japanese culture fan, so I mean, I've seen pictures, I've heard of it, but I've never really seen it until like today.
And I watch anime, so it's, sometimes not as much. The only thing I was familiar with the wood blocks and the posing and the
and the all
crazy
male
head
and the
movement.
all male cast.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Which, but yeah, just like old school.
I would like to note that I'm Andrew, by the way.
Hi.
I would like to note that my knowledge of Kabuki is that one stage from the Simpsons arcade game.
Oh,
Okay.
Japan.
The only thing-
the television stage. The television.
The only thing is I've never even got that far in that game because
What? All right, we need to
Second
go to
to
an
last
arcade and spend the $5 to beat this game.
Oh,
Let's do this.
$5, more like 20.
We're
Sorry,
in
I guess that's our Simpsons reference for this.
Hey, there it is.
Still
So,
don't get it.
so this was pretty much like a raw experience for me, just witnessing anything Kabuki, and it was. I don't want to say like it was what I expected, but I'm like I wasn't really taken aback by anything. I knew all kind of like the gestures of it, but it was cool to finally just see it in context.
They also did a really pretty fun explanation about Kabuki and a little bit of One Piece for the uninitiated on both sides.
That must have been so hard for him not being initiated into One Piece. Like,
You
we
could hear his struggle, but he tried.
And there's always going to be some mistakes. I think like they listed Ace as Luffy's childhood friend, and some of the audience like, "You did brother," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah."
Spoilers.
Like, the guys could be like, "Oh,
Spoilers for 3 years ago.
The dictator.
Like the poor, the poor guys. could be
Jimbei,
like,
Nico, Robin.
Oh yeah, the original slide had Jinpei listed as Nico Robin, a member of the Straw Hat Crew.
Robin's looking good. But yeah, Zen, like, it's like me. It's like I'm not going to shout because I was like, oh, you know what? My bad. Here, you take over, sir. I'm like, gladly. Simpsons references. You know, I'm not going to do that. So there's a little bit of that. Like, well, even the person, like, I'm thinking whoever had to translate this and subtitle it, that's a trip. You know, because
Really?
there's so much context that
They did a
Gotta
good
forget.
job, though.
I thought so as well.
their
That's so well.
yeah, their translation for Okama is kind of funny.
Homeland.
Like just the presentation itself, the costumes were fantastic. I really appreciate Whitebeard actually having a beard.
Yeah, and it made it look like his chin.
Yeah, I thought like, damn, like he could have had that. I thought, like,
Blackbeard's fat suit had nipples. I did notice that.
And
accurate.
nipple
Men have
hair.
nipples. Men have
Nipple
nipples.
hair too.
I love the teeth. Blackbeard, like they did a
Yeah.
good
Oh,
job
he
with
looked
teeth. Yeah.
pirate.
Oh, and
Pirate.
he did a badass job with that laugh.
And another thing you don't know about Kabuki, oftentimes the actors will play multiple roles.
Yeah, which I didn't know.
So yeah, like Jinbei was also Blackbeard.
Yeah.
and that fits perfect.
And Luffy was Boa Hancock as well.
no joke.
and Shanks.
And
And
Shanks.
Shanks.
Shanks with an anchor is really good too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking, when Shanks shows up in Marineford, he walks out with like a anchor, like hoisted over his shoulder. And I'm like, damn, that's a good look. No one does that yet. I would love, but he already has a sword. I'm like, but I thought that was pretty cool.
Well, he can only carry one. He's only got one arm.
And how many Jareth the Goblin Kings were in that Kabuki play?
Okay, well, every scene had a
That
Jareth.
one Okama at least was 100% Jareth.
That was Jareth. I thought Shanks also looked a lot like David Bowie.
Just watch The Labyrinth like 100 times. I can appreciate every single one of them.
I appreciate their lace front wig game. Holy crap.
Yeah. Ace's wig, it took me like 3 times just looking at close-ups to realize it was actually a wig.
It was so
There was a lace
they
front.
fooled me. Yeah.
Ace is a handsome looking dude.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
he was even wearing a shirt and he was still the hottest.
He was quite he was handsy for sure.
The liberties that they took were great. Sanji saying that he's the sexiest member of the One Piece crew.
You know, it's been a struggle with Sanji all these years. That Kabuki play alone like redeemed him for me. I was sitting in my seat. I wanted to say out loud, I'm like, he was the fucking man. Yeah, he was a little more showboaty.
He carried me away, and I was like,
Yeah. Oh my god, Sanji was cool for like the little scenes because the Straw Hats are actually not in this very much. I mean, as you guys are all aware, Impel Down and Marineford, none of the Straw Hats are involved in that.
They get separated by a bear.
Oh my god.
Okay, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Oh, Kuma.
Kuma is not really Kuma in this. They kind of put a screen over it to kind of get the effect of the Straw Hats disappearing, and Kuma's just these
puppet dolls.
2 giant bear claws.
Like literal bear claws.
Yeah.
His name was fully realized, guys.
And they growl too.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, to be fair, Kuma does mean bear. So
we know that.
Yeah, I'm learning so much about Japanese culture today. I was just thinking, like, just Kizaru just has a pet bear.
It seemed like the Navy just had a pet bear, a secret weapon pet bear.
Yeah, Kizaru's like, this is my secret weapon, and then bear claws appeared.
And who really knows like how far this is get released? Like I honestly can't see this getting out very much around the States. We're very lucky to have it here in LA.
I could see them doing it at like maybe New York.
Possibly, hopefully.
I think one thing for any One Piece fans going into this, like, kind of throw most of the context out the window. Some characters are going to act a little bit differently. Some things are going to be rewritten. Like, just got to think about it. Everything has to be condensed in 3 hours, and especially for people that aren't familiar with One Piece, it kind of like Kuzan has to act a little bit different context. So someone's like, well, why is he acting all like, pardon my phrasing, chill than some of the other admirals? So. That's just like a little warning right there. Like Blackbeard doesn't play a big part in Whitebeard's death.
But all the adaptations I thought were fair and accurate.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because like even they would add certain lines to, because like I think it was one line that like Whitebeard had that he didn't have at that moment, but they added later simply because of the context of the story.
Yeah.
They would do things like that. It's like, oh, you don't say that there, but you do say that at a later moment just for the flow.
Well, I thought they were going to kill off Whitebeard first.
I was kind of bothered by that. Yeah. I mean, it didn't happen. They got.
Well, when you think about it, though, in the context, like Ace is a bigger part of that story than Whitebeard.
Right. Makes sense.
Yeah. So I thought, like, well, it does make sense to kind of kill off Whitebeard first because Ace has been such a pivotal point of this storyline in this Kabuki play. But no, it kind of just damn, I really love the way Whitebeard looked in this. It was badass.
The actor was really good.
Yeah,
What's
really
interesting
cool.
was Ace was like the least Kabuki of all of them. I felt he looked like a normal dude in like this leather vest and like trench coat that he got in Drum, and then like his brown cowboy hat.
He looked like that dude from Overwatch.
McCree.
Yeah. What do you think about it?
I knew.
My brother come to save me.
It's like Ace stole Dante's coat from Devil May Cry and was like, "This is mine now. This is all mine."
He was an equivalent, like practically like a J-pop star in that thing. Like he never. Well, he did the kind of the head thing a few
Ace,
times.
as you guys have so often called him, he's Poochie.
Poochie.
He wasn't wearing the slippers.
His sweet ass Impel Down prisoner slippers.
Oh yeah, I always hated them.
Yeah. They don't look comfortable in that.
No, they don't. Like all the Impel Down stuff, specifically New Kama Land.
Yeah.
That's why this thing was made, just to do New Kama Land.
Oh my god!
Yeah, let me get into
the
that here. And
couch?
I'm gonna very very rocker
So Rocky Horror. I was
Rocky
watching
Horror.
Rocky Horror then. I watched it on TV and I watched it in the theater. I'm like, yeah.
We should point out that the
I'm gonna get this guy's name because he deserves
go.
all the
Yeah,
credit. Bando Minosuke, not Momosuke. Sorry, Brian's here. And I have to make fun of MVP of this damn thing. Jesus. Like, his Zoro was great. I really liked how his Zoro was very boastful, very
Serious.
almost like meat-headed. But damn, his Bon Clay was unreal. His Bon Clay, the facial expressions that guy was doing, it was amazing.
It should be pointed out that he was specifically referred to in the intro that we got as like a big One Piece fan.
Yeah?
And you can tell that with his Bon Clay, like
He cared so much.
incredibly.
I think like it goes without saying that Bon Clay is such a beloved character. I love him even more now after seeing this.
yes.
Like, I always liked Bon Clay, but after this, I'm like, wow, he kind of just went up in the
whole
ranks for me.
scene, I've always loved the Impel Down stuff because
Yeah.
of him and Luffy and the friendship and come my way and just so good. I cried so hard.
Oh, that's another thing I point out. His speech that he had at the end of Alabasta, they used in the Impel.
Yeah, they did. And I don't know why it took me so long, but like after watching this, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot. Ivankov is really awesome. It's been a while since he's been in the story, so I'm like, oh right, he is this over the top.
Yeah,
and
I think
amazing.
And they put him in that context where we're talking about like Rocky Horror. It's like finally we saw like New Kama Land in that kind of context of this like almost like a Broadway show, and like it, like that's what that was in One Piece, and to kind of see that on a stage performance was awesome.
But
And-
it's not a musical.
I mean,
you know, it's like a theater sort of thing.
That was the only thing that was lacking.
Ivankov had the one traditional Kabuki part. That one sequence where he's like actually talking to Luffy in rhyme. You hear the little like strumming of the guitar and there's music, or everything goes quiet.
Yeah.
That was the 10 seconds of actual Kabuki that's in there.
So this show is they talked about it in the beginning. It's not a lot like other Kabuki. I mean, it's super Kabuki. It was specifically requested that the instruments being used through Kabuki, which is an integral part of the play itself, are not to be Japanese. They're supposed to be more Western stuff. And I mean, there was borderline rock music. There was a whole pop musical motion.
I probably love that song.
And yeah, like Ryan said, the only bit with the actual traditional shamisen? I don't know. There we go. Was with like 10 seconds of Ivankov talking to Luffy.
Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is a Kabuki play.
Totally played it for laughs too.
Yeah.
Question for anyone here: did anyone get to see the Aladdin stage show at California Disney? Yeah,
many years ago.
Same thing.
Totally reminded of that when Luffy was flying in the sky on a magical surfboard
that Jinbei gave him.
And then that Jinbei gave him, and then bringing out that whale, like balloon whale, just like going around the audience. Oh my god!
Wasn't it mentioned in the introduction? Like kind of that whole effect is common in Kabuki.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So they
used it twice to great effect for both.
Yeah.
At the end when they had Aokiji use Ice Age, they had him strung up and flying around. It was like,
oh, that was badass. That was badass.
So good.
Spider-Man, cool. Turn off the dark. Yeah. That's another. I was like worried and seeing them swing around. I'm like, oh, don't get hurt.
No one died. We're good.
We don't want another Spider-Man on our hands.
The waterfall.
It's like an actual water fall. Then the performers got in and they're fighting. Man,
you're doing flips.
Inazuma felt a lot more prominent in this than he ever
whole,
did.
Speech scene, amazing fight scene.
Same actor who played Sanji.
No wonder why I liked him.
Yeah,
because when I saw Sanji at the end, I'm like, okay, he has a familiar face, and not just because I saw it at the beginning, but I felt like he played someone else. Yeah,
they took a lot of creative liberties with more of the attacks. Like, I think people have seen this GIF online before, but like Luffy's arm stretching, they had like stage ninjas who had like just the two arms
exposed,
unrobed, so they could be his arms. Inazuma, they had two blades, and he like used them like a scissor.
Yeah.
And then Akainu and Ace had a battle between their magma and fire, but it was like
sword
flags.
fight. Yeah, flags and then swords.
I gotta say the ninja stays hands for Luffy was so like fun for me. I loved it, especially because they had that whole little bit with the Amazon Lily like little party before we go save Ace.
Yeah,
and using it to grab the meat from the girls and just all that was so fun.
Yeah, I thought like, wow, this is one scene I feel like you could have cut.
But yeah, then like the effects they did, and then like the meat gag. I thought like, I'm glad I got to see that because I guess they had to lighten the mood a little bit.
There's a lot of effects that are imposed onto the stage as well that are really neat.
Like the projections.
Yeah, the projections, and it was hard to tell what was added for this show and what was actually on the stage.
To its credit, because sometimes you couldn't tell. I'm
yes,
like, wow,
and honestly, it's like I would not be surprised if it was actually on the stage at that point.
Because we were saying before, we started recording, we thought the water was a projection, and then they jump in it, and I'm like, oh my god,
they're like literally slip and sliding across.
But that's
the
it.
floor.
They're going to jump in the water, and that's it, right? That's the finale, and then they get out of the water and they keep doing stuff, and they're fighting, and I'm like, damn,
really
someone's
gonna
slip and hurt themselves.
Yeah,
I'm worried for these people.
The people who watched it were actually in the theater. Really, I mean, there had to have been some sort of sign
splash zone.
First 3 rows will get wet, snowed upon, and little flags of fire thrown on you.
Yeah, as Bon Clay was like running down that little passage on the left there, he was like splashing all around.
If you've never seen actual Kabuki, there is like a kind of like a fashion runway thing that extends from the stairs, which some of the performance takes place on too.
That was a thing until I watched this. I was like, this is so cool. How come we don't do that here? I want the actors like on my side right there.
And another thing, if you guys haven't seen like Cirque du Soleil, it's very much like the stage is also a character where like things can pop up and come through.
Yeah.
And like there's a lot of like aerial acrobatics. Mm-hmm. And so you also have to use your imagination because they don't literally like build a set. It's like it suggests a wall. It suggests a prison.
Yeah, you got to remember that.
I just wanted to interject one thing about how you felt someone who wasn't into One Piece would be into this. Because, honestly, it was like, as I was watching it, I know a lot about One Piece, but at the same time, it's like, I kept on thinking, it's like, would someone understand this if they didn't know what One Piece was? And I felt like there was a lot of moments where it was like, oh, I understand that, because they kind of explain it. And there is that sort of feeling of, you have to take yourself out of reality and kind of like say, okay, this is a fantasy setting. We kind of understand where this is going.
I think that helps it the most because within Kabuki, everything's very impressionistic. And this actually is the most impressionistic you could possibly take One Piece and it still flows through as a story because they don't even explain devil fruits at all. It's literally just magic.
Yeah.
And they just say that I ate. I think... Yeah, because I'm not one of those people. Like when I got into One Piece, I got it from the beginning. But a lot of people usually like I got into Dragon Ball, like smack dab in the middle of something, kind of just learn as you go. And I think people that aren't familiar with One Piece are totally capable of grasping it through seeing this. I think they do a good job of like keeping this
because
in
it should be noted that there were a lot of people in the audience who came because they knew it was Kabuki theater and not because of One Piece. It's like. I'm kind of curious how they felt about it and what they thought of this interpretation of a Kabuki play.
We should have interviewed some.
Think about it. Yeah, I think it helped that there were a lot of interjected scenes where mainly like Usopp was known for doing that, or the actor that played Usopp. He would interject and like, hey, let me catch up you audience members who might not be familiar with One Piece real fast.
Yeah.
And then other characters
which is really funny to someone who knows One Piece because when you see that, it's just like, oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
But it's like, yes, that would kind of be necessary for someone who doesn't know anything.
Trying to listen.
He's explaining
I have no idea what's going on.
Usopp plays the Yoda box. It's his other character.
I want to check if Usopp. I want to see if Usopp's actor was anybody else. Do you think like a character like that? I'm consulting the.
But this is like I thought this was a really enjoyable theater play. Just on its own because given the whole One Piece aspect of it, it's like you really kind of love the spectacle of just the look of it and what they do, and it's like you can't really compare it to a musical because it's not really a musical thing. It's more of like a story on stage. So, and it just has a style to it that is really, it's a cultural thing.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's like it's really well done how they tried to bring like, a manga into theater onto a stage play.
Yeah,
it's almost like the equivalent of like a live action adaptation of like if they were
like
to make
Toy
a movie.
Story on ice.
Yeah.
I mean,
Did you see that? Because I did. It was fantastic.
No,
Slinky Dog was 2 people.
I would think so.
isn't that also a Kabuki thing that I could use?
But
we
almost
could tie that in somehow.
almost to buttress your point about people who don't know about One Piece watching this Kabuki thing, I think every One Piece fan should see this if possible.
Yes.
I don't understand why you wouldn't want to.
Yeah.
I mean, Brian and I like to know if we actually watched it twice. And
Yeah.
It was a long show.
We need to point that out that, you two guys saw the 10 a.m. screening, and then you guys were getting out, and I got here, and you guys just decided to stick it out and sit through another screening of it.
It was perfectly enjoyable the second
yeah.
time.
Oh yeah, you can notice more stuff. Like we were.
Yeah.
Brian thought he saw Oda. I don't know.
I swear Oda was in that crowd during the musical sequence in like one of the balconies. Yeah, it looked like his head.
Yeah, it looks like that picture of him from Color Walk 1, just the blue tints.
Oh my god.
Still looks like he's 17.
You saw some guy with a fish head?
That's why you can't see him. He's a vampire. I
Yeah.
swear to God, he's not aging, but he's.
No.
But I want to see the 3-hour version because
Oh, so hard.
despite like those interstitials where they explain things, I really wanted to see it all the way.
Yeah, all right. We missed out on, I guess Garp was in it, because Garp was when
And
Oh
it
yeah, in
ended.
the end they were showing like characters that we
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
Orbs was
Rayleigh.
there, Garp was there. Rayleigh never spoke, but he was in the end, so we assumed there was a scene with him.
Yeah. No, I was really taken back, and I thought the acting was incredible. And I said this before we recorded. You got to commend these actors because this is a really just task. I don't want to say tasking, but they're shouting most of their lines, and then there's all these choreographed fights and other things.
If you think about it, it's a 3-hour play. They do this probably more than once a day.
Oh god.
I don't know if they even have understudies or not, but man, that's got to take a toll on your voice, your stamina, and everything.
I'm amazed that they're still like
a full body workout.
Luffy's actor is still yelling, I want to be king of the pirates at the end of that, and his voice isn't shot.
Exactly.
And he plays 2 other characters. It's unreal, though.
There's
Hancock
ton
didn't
of
do a whole lot
movement.
of shouting.
Like there's constant movement of people.
They're incredibly athletic. Some of these.
Every zoom in on
performers.
which is a credit to the filming that they used for this. It was incredible quality.
Yes,
But every zoom in on the face, they were all dripping in sweat. It wasn't the water effects, it was the sweat.
And the makeup stayed.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Stayed throughout a waterfall.
Yeah, I don't. It's magic.
A lot of sealants.
I need it in my life.
Better than my Ben 9.
You would know. I really appreciate some of the camera work because it would focus in on some of the expressions, like watching Whitebeard do his speech, and a lot of Luffy too. I gotta commend Luffy's actor. It's just nailed this very energetic side of Luffy.
Very boyish too.
Very very shonen, I guess you would say.
He was smiling. I guess his cheeks didn't give out. He was smiling and yelling the whole time.
Just you have to talk like this for 3 hours. Well, I was blown away by some of the performance. Like I said, the guy that played Bon Clay is
And they also have to
unreal.
They have to change costumes in as well.
Yeah. It's hard enough getting myself dressed in the morning, so I can't imagine all that. I don't know if there's anything else you guys really want to get into. I think this is kind of just like a review.
Basically, who can we petition to get either the 3-hour version of this released on home? I'll even take this 2-hour version as a home release. I want it. Where can I buy it? Give it to me.
I just want to see this have more of a wide release. This is too good.
Well, they did say, I believe, I might be wrong, they said that it's actually only been in theaters in Japan for a month as is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, any home release or more release of this that I can get, I would kill for.
There should be some sort of access to this because it's really, I mean, culturally it's really great, and also as a fan of One Piece, it's really awesome to see
incredibly unique
this sort of take on the manga. So
I almost didn't get to see this. I had to hold my hands tight and just go please don't schedule me on Sunday, just one day. And then I got it off. Yes, here I
don't
am.
know if anyone's familiar, but they're with Kabuki. There's the other version of an all-women troupe doing a play called Takarazuka, and I have a lot of friends who are fans of Takarazuka shows and stuff, and they actually do have home releases of those shows, but they are very limited and very expensive. So there might be a certain case for this too. It might be an easier release since it was cut down for film. We'll just have to maybe
It
someone
definitely
can
wouldn't
pull
be
through.
a broad release. It'd be very specific for collectors and fans.
Yeah, unfortunately, I just can't see it having that wide because this is having a wide release. This is a very niche audience.
Well, I should
Very
point out
niche.
in the very beginning, I don't think Brian and I went through not only the show twice, but the introduction to both One Piece and Kabuki twice. And in the original one, he actually said that more people in Japan now currently are fans of One Piece and know about One Piece than they actually know about Kabuki.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And if that makes this helpful, like get a better release, then I'm all.
Yeah. I mean, it's doing wonders for people in Japan, not so much us. Yeah, only because like Kabuki is very foreign.
Like opera. You know?
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
it's like we don't really know a lot, or a lot of people don't really go to see opera or
Yeah.
anything.
We know of it.
Yeah, we know of it.
Thank you, Bugs Bunny.
Yeah, yeah, Phantom.
Yeah, that's a good example. Actually.
But this was a very unique experience, and I'm glad they were able to put this together, and I was able to experience it.
Who put this together for us?
Well, it was the. I'm sorry, I keep forgetting the names. It's the Japan Los Angeles Foundation. Someone's gonna be screaming at me right now. The Japan Foundation of Los Angeles. There we go. Boom, yummy. They put this together, and it's unreal. I still can't believe that this like happened. Like we were able to get this opportunity. And I was saying to you guys before, I missed out when Movie 8 had a limited theatrical run. So being in the theater and hearing Roger's speech at the beginning of it, it was like giving me chills. I'm like, oh, this is surreal. I've never experienced this.
The opening was pretty fantastic. It was all like animated. It wasn't like
still images. Yeah,
but it was just like a good opening. It just showed like Luffy getting the hat and with Ace, and it was just really cute, and it made me cry.
Yeah.
And I really kind of want to mention the actual reception here, because there's almost nothing better than just walking in and just seeing a group of One Piece fans lining up.
Yeah.
And both shows were sold out. They didn't pay for it, but like reserved out. For this, just the showing of Kabuki One Piece, and like they had props for people to wear. They hired professional cosplayers to take pictures with.
Cosplay. It was awesome.
Yeah, there's like a bunch of other cosplays around. Just a bunch of fans.
Had a good excuse to wear t-shirts, and
I saw a lot of older people here.
Tell me about the awesome grandma.
Yeah, there was an 80-year-old woman. Ma'am, if you're listening to this, I don't mean to offend. I am very bad at guessing age. You look lovely. She was wearing like a badass jacket, and she had One Piece pins all over it. She was like jangling as she moved. I was like, you are my goals in life.
It's just weird just that this series has that kind of appeal. I mean, it shouldn't be weird. We're going on almost 8 years now doing this podcast, but crazy. It was great. It was really cool. I would love to see this get a wider release.
This was a really beautiful experience.
Yeah, I'm happy.
I honestly, like, just to know about culture itself. Like, I did also like the introduction.
I appreciated that. Yeah,
I appreciated it because it kind of helped you understand like meanings of certain things.
Yeah, when it kind of broke, like we said, when the Ivankov's moment when they had the traditional Kabuki thing, like you knew like when that happened, like this is one of those, like
exactly.
the locking head positions. I forget.
Oh, and
the name of
Ivankov's,
those,
or not Ivankov, Bon Clay's. Can't remember the name of
the
it.
strut, or something like that.
Epo. Maybe.
It was like flying Rumpo, something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You knew like that was like a big deal. I think we would have thought of it a big deal regardless because we're One Piece fans. So we'd be like, this
Everything
is
is a
Bon
big
Clay's
deal.
great stand. But good stuff. Good stuff. I'm happy I got to see it. I got to see it with so many friends and other fellow One Piece fans, and just people that aren't even fans that just saw this. I think that really does the heart good, and I can't help but give it my stamp of approval. And I really hope this kind of gets somewhat of a wider release.
Everyone should be able to see this.
Yep. Oh, I think that's gonna be it.
I have one last question.
What?
So, how does Fukuro? What's his name from CP9? Kumadori. How does Kumadori come out in his mannerisms?
He's just
to
gonna
real
be
Kabuki?
straight. He's
White
the only
guy.
non-Kabuki
Just
person.
American.
Yeah, when will there be the Enislavi version?
I'm gonna kill you, reindeer. or something completely different, like something. I just want something Western, like an opera singer or something like that. Just get the sad clown.
Four
out.
kids would do that.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Please.
Well, it was awesome.
fixed
Everyone
it.
else thought it was awesome. I don't even think I have to thank you guys for joining me. Thank Dennis for bringing his equipment,
Thank you,
for
Dennis.
lugging it all the way over here, and getting a chance to record this
And
live reaction.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes.
Oh, heck yeah. This is so fun. I swear, I've been listening to the podcast
For a long time.
a very long time. I don't even remember how I found you guys. I just know that I did, and I'm very glad I
I
did.
just type in One Piece and podcasts. And that's
I did
Wow.
that.
the easiest thing.
There we go.
And my friend Andrew, of course.
Hi.
Thank you for
Yes,
chiming
I
in.
am here. I guess.
Yes. Hello.
He's my friend, too.
Oh, you're. Oh, yeah.
I'm happy that I was able to hijack a microphone and just say something into it.
Yeah. Now this is great.
Yeah, if any Patreon users want to help out Zach get one of these, or actually a better one of his current one, because there's one that has 6 mic input jacks.
Oh, could have more people.
Maybe Zach needs one of those.
Yeah, Patreon. Well, I say it's about time we get into the next segment. Are you guys ready?
Yeah,
I'm ready
There
and
we go.
able.
Unless there's a
Let the fun times roll.
Patreon thing, and then it's
This
nothing.
place has a bar. Let's do that.
Cool.
This is a double anime recap for episodes 765 and 766. I'm your host, Sam, and today with us we have Steve. How's it going, Steve?
Hey, thought I'd join you because I am now all caught up with the anime. It's yeah, it got pretty bad at one point. Like a month got between me, and before I knew it, I was like 7 episodes behind.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, there were some fine episodes to catch up on. I must admit.
Man,
Yeah,
I think I've been successfully watching it weekly since pretty much Marineford.
Wow. Yeah, like the one time I really had that going was when Zach used to come over to my place when we used to record episodes, because we would watch this. We used to record Saturday nights and we would watch the
I remember that.
simulcast.
Actually, no,
And
I think I took a break like in the middle of Punk Hazard. That was when it got kind of slow for me.
Yeah. And it was nothing against Zoe or anything like that. I think it was just because I knew what to expect, so there wasn't any eagerness to.
Plus, life and all that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I shouldn't use that as an excuse, because I find a lot of time I'm staring up at the ceiling. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about these past 2 anime episodes.
All right. So the first episode to talk about is 765. Let's go meet the Cat Viper. It's actually one of the rare one-sentence titles for One Piece. The screenplay this week is by Atsuhiro Tomioka. The episode director is Tatsuya Nagamine. There we go. I was gotta go through it a couple times just to make sure I get it right. Animation director is Toshio Deguchi. And the title card this week is 6 minutes and 4 seconds. So we open the episode with we're riding. Is it Warnie? Warnie is Wanda's alligator.
Warnie. Apparently, Warnies is plural. I think they're all Warnies.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I was watching the anime, and I think they referred to multiple.
I think Warnie is just like the Japanese word for gator or something. Anyway,
probably.
They're talking about Peckham's and how likely he would be to help the Straw Hats out in reaching Whole Cake Island and confronting Big Mom's crew. Luffy keeps calling him the Lion Viper, because why not? So this early part of this episode here, I noticed that the first half of this episode is kind of really stiff and ugly, and then the second half of the episode is suddenly really nice looking. But this first half is where they got to dump all the filler, basically, where we get all these bugs and these giant mosquitoes, basically, that are attacking them, and they have to fight them off. And talk about how it's not in the manga. They have to,
of course not.
They mentioned
here comes the filler.
They mentioned that the bugs even suck Zunesha's blood and weaken it, so it's actually a good thing that we're killing them, even though they're basically as big as people. I mean, they're not.
Yeah, at least kind of try to make them seem like they're somewhat important. Or say they're here to suck out the cannon material out of the Straw Hat's blood.
Basically. So we get
they had to fill up some time.
Yeah, that's what this was. That's what this was for sure. But it leads us into a much better half fillery segment, which is
implied filler.
Implied filler, which is Cat Viper with Brooks' Cat Viper song, which he in the manga this happened this would have happened a few episodes back had they adapted it exactly, but I think they were saving it for a more Cat Viper centric episode. So we finally get the Cat Viper song. It's actually really long. It's a little music. It's really nice. It's a little music video where Brooke is singing the Cat Viper song, and then even in the middle of the song, the other members are this is getting a little repetitive. Aren't there other verses? And Brooks is no, wait. I swear there's more. And then he makes up more.
Second verse, not like the first.
Yeah, he just makes up a bunch of new nonsensical lyrics about the Cat Viper.
Yeah, he's making up his own canon.
I love it. It's really great.
It's yeah, like these are the kind of, it's something Alex said on Twitter. These are the kind of moments that keep you watching the anime. You wait for something like this to happen. And of course, like with all these Brook songs and musical numbers, you never get the same. You never get the same product out of it in the manga because you're just reading. There's
Right.
no actually.
And I noticed that like there's a lot.
music.
There's actually like a big. There's actually a whole band basically backing the song up.
Yeah.
It's just Brook by himself.
It's a shame because there's no album coming out, so I don't foresee this being on a CD.
Oh, I imagine it will be. There's no way it won't be.
It'd be great. I don't know if they do another like Soul King single, but like this is like the only song he's done in a while. So,
so the crew they get closer to the big giant whale tree, which is where the cat viper is waiting, and he's being taken care of by Chopper. And Pedro is like standing in the trees, being all cool, but then he's like jumping down and Garching Luffy because he's.
Oh yeah, this was great because so far.
Pedro's been so serious, and now
he's been so serious and very like almost intimidating, and like you could tell he is that, but he's lightening up, and it's really funny him chewing and him getting really close and saying like, "Hey, I would like to do anything to help out Sanji."
This is also when we get to meet Milky the reindeer. I think Milky was her name, right?
The reindeer?
Yeah,
I don't recall.
I think that's her. I think her name is Milky, which is funny, but So, Chopper's smitten because she's just this like crazy, gorgeous, sexy reindeer lady. So they step inside where Cat Viper is being attended to, and he's humming. He's going nya 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 to the tune of Beethoven, which was originally just an SBS joke, which they decided to make canon in the anime.
These are the things that the anime, should do when they do.
I had to do like a double take. I was like, wait. What, wasn't this just an SBS joke originally? And obviously he's talking about how much he loves lasagna.
It was great in the manga, and of course the performance by the actor here is.
I really like Cat Viper's voice actor a lot.
Oh yeah, I like them both. It's amazing how they're still getting a lot of these. Newer actors that in the past they've done a role, but a lot of them they haven't, and they really bring like these. Mm-hmm. They have these new voices. Like it's hard for me to describe, but they just sound different from what I've heard.
It's new blood for One Piece.
Like Jin Rummy is a voice that I think is very unique. Like I can't recall any women, especially women designed like her in this show, sounding like that. So she really stands out.
So we get basically a lot of Cat Viper antics where he's just insists on being like super carefree about everything, even though he's got all these like wounds that he needs to let heal. He's just like jamming a fork into his non-hand.
Wait, no, is it like a scoop? It's not even like a spoon, but it's a scoop. Like an ice cream scoop. It's,
Chopper's telling him, how he needs to rest and all that, but Cat Viper's not listening because he's a man of strong will. And so he will do whatever he wants. And so the episode wraps up with us meeting Peckham's, who's also being treated and hospitalized. And Peckham's is briefly explaining what he knows about the Vinsmokes, how they are the leaders of this mysterious army called Germa 66, which Nami has heard of, but she was pretty sure was just a myth. But Peckham's insists that they are very real and they are very, very dangerous. And that's more or less how this episode wraps up. And we can continue straight on to the next one because we need to get through this pretty quick, I think. Next episode is episode 766, Luffy's Decision, Sanji on the Brink of Quitting. Screenplay this week is by Tomohiro Nakayama. Episode director is Masahiro Hosada. And animation director is Kenji Yokoyama. The title card begins at 4 minutes and 48 seconds, which is a bit earlier than the episode before. The episode opens with Luffy defiantly declaring that he doesn't want to work under Big Mom in the event, in the circumstance that Sanji gets married into her family. But Peckham's is so taken aback by that claim, he just like bounces around out of anger and like tries to scare Luffy with his like cute beady eyes. Luffy even says like, "Oh, you have pretty eyes," and Carrot laughs and it's very adorable. Peckham's explains that Sanji will receive a present if he doesn't play along with Big Mom, because Big Mom's that kind of pirate. He'll receive the decapitated head of someone who is close to him, This could be the Straw Hats. This could be Baratier. And I love that he includes the Kamabaka kingdom or queendom, whatever we want to call it, in this sort of pantheon of people that Sanji cares about.
Mm-hmm.
He insists that Blackfoot Sanji,
it's funny watching it. Yeah. I totally forgot that they mentioned, it could have been someone from Kamabaka Kingdom. And I thought, like, that'd be really anticlimactic. It's like when this was brought up, everyone was really hoping it was like Zeph. It was someone from Baratier. Who knows? It could be a swerve, and it could be someone like even further back from that. But I just thought, like, if it was like one of the cross-dressers, it wouldn't quite be as...
Well, I just like the suggestion that Sanji actually cares about those people instead of...
And the fact that they know that he was there.
Yeah, true. So Peckham's is claiming that if Sanji gets married, he will just simply no longer be a part of the crew because Big Mom's plans take first priority. And Luffy is very unhappy to hear this. We actually get Overtaken plays in the soundtrack as like Luffy's shaking. Peckham's like, no, I'm gonna sneak into the tea party. I'm gonna save him. Carrot's like, sneak into the tea party. That sounds fun. And Wanda chews her out. It's like, no, don't say that, Carrot. But this is that's an interesting little detail. It's like almost like we're getting ready for Carrot to do something later.
Yeah, like, she seems very enthusiastic.
Yeah. Luffy has decided that he's going to find a way to sneak into the tea party. He's going to do it on his own to be as quiet as possible because of all people, Luffy is the one capable of that. He runs outside and he's just like, hey, Zoro. No, he runs outside and he just sort of notices Zoro and he like stops in his tracks. He's like, oh, Zoro, you're here. And then all the rest of the crew are showing up and Luffy's telling Chopper about Peckham. Say, Chopper, he's going crazy and banging his head on his wall. You should treat him. And Chopper is amazed. Those are crazy symptoms. What kind of illness is he facing right now? But he's just mad at Luffy. That's the illness he is stricken with. We get just like a little scene with the dogs and their love of Brook, aka Baron Corpse. Cat Viper is following the crew around, tries to Garchu Zoro and Luffy.
Any scene with Cat Viper is just money.
And I love how like he crashes into the wall and like blood is like splurting out of his head. Like he should probably listen to his doctor. Law shows up. He introduces his crew and they do like almost like a Ginyu squad pose where like the what's his name, Jean Bart is like in the back because he's the tallest. And
and this was pointed out in SBS recently. There is in fact a girl.
There's a girl. There's chunks of the crew who are not into the Law and Luffy alliance, but Law's just like, we're just allies. You don't have to be friendly if you don't want to. And the Minks are all sort of watching, listening, and they're all so moved that these guys would fight for them even against people like Kaido and Big Mom. So they have a big banquet to just like celebrate, friendship basically. And it happens over the night. I can't remember if they mentioned it in this episode, but this party takes place with the full moon covered by the clouds. And I think I remember there being like some comment like, oh, it's a good thing that we don't see the good moon, the full moon, or else something bad would happen is like the implication.
Yeah.
But it's so weird. And it's so weird that the full moon has now passed in the story without us knowing what's up. Like I don't know, it's crazy. I guess it'll take another month in the world's time before we get to learn about the full moon again. So we see that the samurai Kinemon and Konjuro are still climbing. They're now on like this blue tiger named Torasaburo,
which is adorable.
Yeah, the adult trio of the crew, Robin, Brooke, and Frankie, they're all like waiting for them, but they fall asleep even though they were trying not to.
Well, they were originally making the wise choice of like, hey, let's take shifts. Yeah. And then they're like, no, we all want to wait.
No,
so
they all fell asleep. I love the comment, like once Kinemon and Konjuro get up, I love the comment that Kinemon couldn't tell it was a tiger until Konjuro just mentions it offhand. Because Konjuro's just a terrible artist. Although it looks like a tiger to me. I don't know. It's not a bad drawing. Honestly.
Yeah, it's just a blue tiger.
Yeah. And the monkey, what's his name? Barriete. The monkey is very freaked out, and he goes running and he goes calling for help, calling to the other Minks. The samurai are here, the samurai are here. And we're supposed to believe that something bad is on the verge of happening, and this is when the episode wraps up. General thoughts on these 2 episodes, Steve?
I thought they moved really well. The gags were really funny. Like I said, I really enjoy Cat Viper's performance. Really doing this Zoe stuff justice. Other than that, of course the Cat Viper song is brilliant. I think people are going to be singing that for a long time. I think something Japanese, yeah. And then of course Cat Viper's song, his lasagna is amazing. Just give us a single of those 2 songs. But that was great. I think for the most part, I was watching maybe 1 or 2 episodes at a time. I thought it was paced really well, but now let's see how things go now that I'm all caught up again. But they were good. This was all good stuff. I thought like it was moving along at a good pace.
My general thoughts are, I thought the second half of the first of these 2 episodes was like really strong. Like it felt just really well directed and paced and well, and just looks nice. And then the second episode just has, like I don't have any comments on it as an anime adaptation, but it just has a ton of cool stuff in the story, as far as just Luffy versus Peckhams and. And it was the party scene was the scene I liked the most, because I like that I like that new party song that they have since we've gotten since Zoe, that I can't even remember. I can't even explain what kind of instrument they're using, like some sort of xylophone or something. I really like that song. I really like that party scene. It just feels very genuinely carefree and feel good. Steve, are you ready to move on to the next segment now?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do it.
This is the Piece Together segment where we take your questions, comments, and oh my god, there's a bomb in this Piece Together. That's just, okay, stay calm. There's only 1 email on this bomb.
Oh, I was so startled.
Not funny, Zach. We don't take kindly to bomb threats on this podcast.
Well, says you. First question.
Zach apparently does. He finds them very good.
First question comes from Drake, who said he recently ran into a neat coincidence involving One Piece. He's been living in a town of fishers for a little over a year, and he sort of learned in passing that the high school's mascot is a tiger, and it didn't fully hit him until he was in a supermarket, and a van in the parking lot had a big sticker that said Fisher's Tigers on it. Have any of you seen something related to One Piece, but that wasn't intended to be a direct reference like this before? Like the, 1 letter off from Sanji on a license plate or something. Also, he petitions to change General Katakuri's name to Captain Starchy, which I would do. I would sign on to that.
Yeah,
Starchy.
I kind of want to do that. It's hard to do until I see the character and I understand like where Oda is going with it. But yeah, Starchy.
Any coincidental?
Who the hell is Starchy again?
That's the one we haven't seen. Oh yeah, that.
Oh okay. Okay, all right. I was about to say, I'm like, I don't recall a Starchy coming in yet. Look at me, I'm calling him Starchy. And the question was, have we ever seen anything that like an accidental One Piece reference?
Yeah.
Totally. I was at a wrestling show, and a guy came out to the New World Symphony song when Luffy beat Crocodile. He came out to that, and I was like, oh, a One Piece reference.
I guess that kind of answers the question.
What do you want, Zach? Do you want me to look in the clouds and see a Straw Hat Jolly Roger and be like, oh my god?
No, I mean, I've seen a lot of like store names that have the same names as One Piece characters, but that's also because a lot of One Piece characters are based off of real people or real things.
Whenever that reminds me of you just reminded me of something. In Baltimore, there's a place that I've passed a whole bunch. I think it's a deli, but it's called Arlon's. It's literally spelled like Arlong, but there's no G. and I keep meaning to take a picture of it.
Yeah, whenever people talk about Don Quixote, just like the original story, I just think of One Piece. Like I remember in college, we actually went to see like a Don Quixote play, and like all I could think about was like, man, this is really relevant to what's going on in One Piece right now.
There's a company called Don Quixote, and a couple years ago when it came out for AX, we were in the middle of Dressrosa, and they had like their big warehouse, and I'm like, oh, it's the Smile Factory.
And Rush has a song about Rocinante. It's the name of their spaceship.
Oh.
Whoa.
That's
pretty good.
Yeah. I've seen a few also. I mean, even when I say like a Ace or something very simple like that, One Piece comes to mind. Although that's a much more common word in general to see around. That's really it for emails. We did not get a lot of them this week. What do we have on Reddit, Steven?
Okay, well, not a ton of Reddit, but we'll go through everything here. I will start with the guy who created the thread, who posted his question in the top comment. I think I'm pronouncing this right. Lil Kyle motherfucker says.
Username text out.
What is that? Swedish?
That's the name of my IKEA desk. Thank you, Steve.
Okay, who mentions a theory that he came across, which would suggest that Big Mom has been lying all this time about certain facts, like with Jinbei, and just this last chapter with Big Mom telling Luffy that Lola ditched out on a political wedding. Do you think Big Mom has been lying about all these things, or do you think Lola is the liar? No, I just think it wasn't like part of, it's not necessarily something that Oda was going to introduce way back when Lola was, he set up the foreshadowing when she mentioned that her mama was a fancy pirate. And we could kind of guess, but he wasn't going to be like explaining all these, my mom, she has all these political marriages, and I was supposed to get married, and then I didn't want to get married, and now I want to get married, and so that's why I'm here. That's a lot of backstory for a side character in an arc. And so, no, I think this is just, more facts are coming to light, and that's what we have now. I guess the thing about whether Jinbei is a coward or not, whether he capitulated, is a different question, because we still have not seen him since that Wheel of Misfortune scene. So we don't know what happened to,
I hope we called it Wheel of Misfortune, because if we didn't,
I think we did.
Oh, what is wrong with us? What's the next question?
Yeah, let's see. We'll go on to Vince Smoke Vivi, who says, Panda Man is now an official member of the Heart Pirates. I love it. Is it just me, or did he show up a lot in this recent anime episode? I'm usually very oblivious to him, so I was surprised that I counted him like 4 times. Anyway, what's your favorite Panda Man portrayal?
The anime throws him in a lot more than the manga throws him in.
He was in Law's Crew.
Was he in that in the manga too? I forgot.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he was.
Yeah.
I
don't know about like specific portrayals, because they tend to be very, like, there's Panda Man.
No, there's an answer to this, Stephen, and that's all of the recent volume covers.
I was gonna say my favorite one is the one where he is the snot bubble coming out of Buggy's nose on the volume cover. That's the best one.
I liked him as Vivi.
Yeah, that's the one where he's Vivi is the one that I think that might be my favorite. But the one where he's Crocodile, way back when.
Oh yeah.
That's always a favorite too.
Oh, so we're talking about those. Damn, I'm trying to remember. Maybe I'm partial to the volume 77 one, just because we named an episode after that.
Which one was that?
The one where he just replaces Doflamingo.
Oh yeah, what was it? Donkey Panda Man Flamingo. That was it.
I don't own too many of the tankobons, so I don't know a lot of these off the top of my head.
That one's good. That one's good. Yeah.
It's a real shame that that's kind of something. I mean, unless Viz like dedicated extra pages inside the volume, it's just something that cannot be reproduced when you only have one cover.
Viz came out with oh no, maybe I'm thinking of Funimation when they had all their covers come out in that little pamphlet. But I could see them putting all like the Tankobon ones maybe like with one of the big box sets. I think that would be a cool thing to add. You know, they add those little extra special.
I don't know, Zach. Ever since they invented dust repellent covers, there hasn't been much need for dust jackets here in the United States.
That's true. We did invent those. What's next, Stephen?
Next is from Black Northwind, who mentions a couple episodes back, someone asked how Crocodile found the information about Pluton. The answer is simple: from the world government. They were also looking for that weapon, the blueprints. So most probably Crocodile overheard someone, maybe Spandam, talk about it and set his eyes on obtaining the weapon before the world government. I don't remember who brought that up, but I mean, sure, I guess.
I don't know. I don't think the Seven Warlords and the government trade information like that, or even would like be in the same room. I feel like, although Spandam is loud, so it's possible.
Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely not something that is going to be brought up in the story itself. So
probably not. It is Oda. It could.
Yeah.
Croc is conniving, so.
He is, yes. White Bear Beppo has a question for me. In the panels where Carrot is hanging over the pot, there's a grek, grek, grek sound effect. The scans translated it as ribbit, and I was wondering what that is referring to. Yeah. So I actually started off, like, as I was, working on the chapter, I was like, okay, well, this looks like a frog sound effect, because that is what they do in Japanese. They go giggle, giggle, giggle. But there's no frog element in the picture. Like, there isn't a frog character standing there. It's not like the whatever the wheel, the rafters thing that she's hanging from is frog themed in any ways. So I revised it and was like, okay, that's probably supposed to be like, the rope creaking as she's hanging there. But I'll admit it's kind of mysterious. I really don't know what exactly Oda was getting at there. So I came up with something that sounded similar to the sound effect itself. Maybe if that scene gets elaborated on next time we see Chopper and Carrot, there will be some answer. But failing that, I'm just assuming that it's just creaking noises. So we will move on to Millard Fillmore 13, friend of the podcast, friend of America. I was wondering if any of you came to the conclusion that Lola was supposed to marry one of the giants, since that would seem to explain a lot about this chapter. Yes, we did. Also, what else do you think could be trapped in Big Mom's books? A chupacabra, the Loch Ness Monster, Gaimon? The possibilities are endless.
I think those are all good answers. I like the melding of real fake animals, like the ones in the real world that we've made up, like a unicorn, and just fake animals, like the ones we were talking, the Crockish or the Mushroom Man,
Mm-hmm.
which Mushroom Man may actually exist, who knows? But
do you know the Mushroom Man?
The Mushroom Man?
The Mushroom Man.
Do I know the Mushroom Man? The one who lives on Drury Lane? That one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. I don't. I know of him though. Yeah.
I'll have to introduce you sometime.
Oh, please do.
I hate mushrooms.
I think it would be funny if like Big Mom had like a section along with the Doskoi Panda of like all the animal mascots, like the branding mascots or something like that. She's like, oh, and here I have it's the original Nike swoosh, I got it.
I thought you were almost gonna say Papagoo is gonna be in there.
Oh God.
It's bound to happen one day.
Yeah.
I'd like to see with the long-limbed person, or the Griffin. Actually, that one actually made me think for half of a second, because I was like, "Oh, have we seen one of those before?"
Right.
I don't think we have. Yeah.
Like, it did get mentioned, so I'm kind of curious, like, why that got attention of all things.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, but the possibilities are endless with Oda's sense of creativity.
Yeah.
Bosco Zen wants to know, why do you think the Kid Apu Hawkins alliance was going after Shanks? He doesn't have a poneglyph.
They might not be after that.
Well, yeah, I mean, like Luffy and Law were after Kaido before they knew about the road poneglyphs, right?
True.
I don't think that's very wide knowledge, even that the road poneglyphs are how you get there. I think they're ahead of the game because wasn't it that they needed to get to like the Rio poneglyph, or they could have gotten to that final island on the on the log pose, and then they would find out that the road poneglyphs are there, and then they would go after it. So Luffy, I think, is way ahead of the game. I think when he made that statement to Big Mom, he really has caught up to where Big Mom was in a much shorter period of time, whether she knows it or not. And so I think we kind of are starting to see that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. This is not necessarily the most exciting answer, but it could also just be that like Oda is, sort of splitting up these characters. Like, okay, who's going to play a part in this arc? Who's going to play a part in that arc? If he's going to do a significant story development with Shanks, after Big Mom.
Yeah,
and
but he
Kaido,
also mixed it up because the three of them are never going to get to Shanks because they're with Kaido right now, and one of them is locked away in a prison.
I think,
maybe we'll find out more about that when we get to Kaido. But at some point, he has to start like moving, maneuvering side plots and characters to flesh out, whatever story he's going to do with Shanks. So maybe that's part of it.
Yeah, I think as far as the Apu Kid Hawkins alliance goes, it's Kid who's basically at the forefront of that, and he's just sort of like a devil may care, I'm gonna destroy everything type of personality. So I feel like he thinks that, if I beat the shit out of all the emperors, then I'll become Pirate King or be closer to it. So that's probably his motivation to begin with.
What's the next question, Stephen? Yeah.
Knuten FFS says in chapter 169, this would be back in the prison in under Rain Dinners in Alabasta. Smoker says, the tip of this club has a sea prism stone embedded in it. They're mysterious stones found only in one place in the ocean. Is this a mistranslation? If not, where do you guys think the place that has sea prism stones is? I did go and look this up. Just because I couldn't recall what exactly he said. And that is an accurate thing. He says, it comes from a specific, stretch of sea or a specific place in the ocean. So I don't know. That is a long time ago. So it's possible that that's a story element that Oda, gave himself some room to work with and then has never gone back to elaborate on it, or it could be that it has some much bigger, like devil fruit, Genesis story implications that, he just doesn't need to set up yet. I don't know. I mean, it's not like we have a ton of places that we haven't seen yet where it's like, oh, well, clearly it has to be from here or here. So I don't know. We'll move on to Nuneasy, who has another comment about the giant. Aside from the Giants swiping left on Big Mom, I've got another reason why she might be pissed off at the idea of them. I'm thinking Lola must have been engaged to a giant, presumably from Elbaf. This might explain why Big Mom has such a personal problem with giants. And since the wedding went south, perhaps the giants want nothing to do with Big Mom at the present time. She also alluded to the marriage being a huge step up for her in power, and having access to a kingdom of giants might fit that description. So if the above is sort of maybe close to being true, do you guys think there are powers out there that are on the level of or close to the four emperors? I'd imagine there are probably really strong people that aren't involved in piracy or the revolution that just mind their own business. Maybe a giant king or queen could be one of them. I mean, it's hard to say because Oda tends to kind of frame these things as like, okay, here's the three big powers that maintain, he kind of sets it up so that your expectations are a certain way. But yeah, if there's anything that he has introduced that seems likely to have that sort of upsetting power, it probably is the giants.
I would agree. And Luffy also has now a ton of them at his side, presumably, or a crew
Well,
of them.
what, like 6 or
12,
7 or whatever it
I thought
was?
12.
Yeah.
I thought it was 5.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Splitting hairs here. Well, if it's not the Giants, then it's got to be somebody like. I think that if there were a series of ultra powerful moon men that the D line is derived from. Check out the One Piece Connection on OnePiecePodcast.com. This would be a really good way for Oda to lead into that. If
or if also on the One Piece Connection at OnePiecePodcast.com, the Giants could have to do with Uranus, the third and final of the 3 ancient weapons. And that could kind of all play into that, and maybe that's what Big Mom's referring to there.
Yeah, the thought did cross my mind regarding the ancient weapons, specifically because she mentioned that she would have been able to, beat her other emperors into submission,
including Whitebeard and Kaido. Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, like even if there was an entire army of giants at her disposal, I don't know if they could take out somebody like Kaido and Whitebeard and Shanks, like all together. You know what I mean?
No, I completely agree with you. I wouldn't.
So
that kind of strengthens the theory that I had about the giants and an ancient weapon of some sort being
right
interconnected.
Like a giant so big it could ride Zanesha.
Sure. Yeah.
We'll go on to Nivers, who says, in The Simpsons, when Poochie was singing, he said his name was Poochie D. That is true. His name's Poochie D, and he rocks the telly. He's half Joe Camel and a third Fonzarelli.
He's a kung fu hippie from Gangsta City and a rapping surfer, and you're the fool that he pities.
You're the fool who I pity.
Mm-hmm. Does this mean he has the will of D? And is his home planet the moon? And since he died a few months before One Piece started, did any One Piece characters inherit Poochie's will?
Good question.
What the hell are you talking about?
I think he's referring to the fact that the Poochie episode was probably like 95 or 96. I don't know what season that was.
No, I think it was like 97.
Yeah, it was around that time.
Yeah.
It's
There's no
that's season 8, right?
Season 8 was 97, I think. Yeah.
97, 98.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't 98. It was.
Let's move on to the next question.
What? Well, okay. Ace inherited his will, and now who's going to inherit it from him?
Sabo.
One Piece Princess says, correct me if I'm wrong, but the original contents of the Tamate box were the evil drugs Hody Jones stole and used, right? With that in mind, if the box had never been emptied and Big Mom still obtained it, how do you think she would have reacted to its original contents?
Yum, yum, eat 'em up.
Ooh, candy.
She's Big Grandma.
Big Grandma.
Grandma. Yeah, I don't know. That's
I see what you did there. I got confused at first, but
Big Meemaw.
Yeah. Big Meemaw. Yeah, I don't know what else you could do with that. We'll finish Reddit with Alice WW90, who has a crazy theory. As we know, Brooke is really tall, but what if Brooke is also a long arm and long leg person, and the one in Big Mom's book is actually a relative of him? Well, the problem with that is that the reason they have such long limbs is because they are extra jointed, and Brooke has just one elbow and one knee.
Yeah, we're positive about that. We could see that part.
Well, the long legs aren't extra jointed, are they?
No.
Yeah.
Are they?
Oh, no, they are. They are. Aren't they? I thought they are.
No, I don't think so. I think they just have long legs.
Yeah, they just have super huge thighs.
Okay. All right.
Either
so
way,
that's still in play.
Okay.
Mega leg.
It could still be a mega leg. Before we get into Twitter, we're doing our Whole Cake Island contest, which the post will be up this week. I promise everyone. I want to go through who has posted their numbers so far. Remember, this is Price's Right rule, so it's the closest without going over. I said that the arc would be ending at chapter 901. Ed said 876. Steve said 888. Steven said 895. And Casey Minovsky said 890. So I want to see what you guys think of everyone who hasn't been on yet. Let's start with Alex. What chapter do you think this arc, the Whole Cake Island arc, will end? When are they sailing away?
Sailing away from Whole Cake Island. Now this is what number chapter did we just go through?
847.
847. Okay, let's see here.
It's been like 20-something chapters.
I should also plug our data binge that I threw out there on the OnePiecePodcast.com for the most nerdy of One Piece fans. You could see the average arc length and visualized arc lengths and pie graphs and bar charts. And anyway, go ahead, Alex.
Yeah, so let's see. And Dressrosa was what, 10 volumes?
Yeah, it's 100-ish chapters, yeah.
Right.
It's like 101, I think.
Yeah, okay.
That's as big as they get, though.
I'm gonna say probably let's do 8.
8. Good start.
85.
8 what?
885.
885. Okay.
885.
Okay, Mike. Do you have?
Oh wait, hold on. That's better make that 892. Actually,
is that your final answer?
That's my final answer.
We're locking that in.
And and if it ends up being 885, I'm gonna be mad. But I think, I think that's reasonable.
Now, Mike, this is your chance to steal. Now,
what was the last guess, Bob?
Don't call me that. 892 was Alex's guess. I could go through them all again. We have.
I'll go 893.
Whoa. No,
I'm going to go 905.
905. I actually was writing 893.
I kind of hope it doesn't go that long. But
that's not as long as you. That's another year and a couple months, maybe.
Yeah, it is. But I honestly don't see this arc going on for a whole nother year.
Sam, you're our last guesser today.
All right, for the record, I said 888 in like the Skype chat long before Steve stole it from me. But since he's taken 888, I'm going to say 887.
J'accuse.
No, that's bad for you. You want to say 889 if you want to block him. But it's up to you. You could say 887
without going
if you want.
Over.
Oh, no, that is over. You're right. The closest without going over. Yeah, no, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, 887. My mistake.
Well, of course, now you know that this means war.
Okay.
Texas and fire.
So before we get into the piece of the tweet, I said 901, Ed said 876, Steve said 888, Steven said 895, Casey said 890, Alex 892, Mike 905, and Sam 887. We'll continue to take these as new people come on the podcast. And from you guys on OnePiecePodcast.com, the winner will win a subscription to Weekly Shonen Jump, Crunchyroll for I think a year. I have to get a little more information from that. And we'll be able to come on the podcast for a full episode. So keep an ear to the ground and write your chapter number when it's available. But Alex, it's time to
Piece the tweet.
Pretty good there, Alex. It was Ed-esque, I think I could say.
What can I say? I know Ed.
You do. What are our Twitter questions this week?
Emil Nordpol at Emil Nordpol asks, with so many long-term series ending, has Oda already influenced the current mangaka generation in art style, storytelling, ...
Yeah, I wasn't the author for My Hero Academia a huge One Piece fan and had the thing in the Usopp gallery. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think so, yeah.
That was him, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do like a drawing a smoker or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when you have a relatively self-contained culture like manga is, within Japan, and there's one series that has basically broken all the records, it's kind of impossible for that not to have an outsized influence on everything that comes after it. And so, yeah, I mean, I think, everything we've seen in the last, let's say like 10 years possibly has at least paid some homage to One Piece. And now you're definitely seeing more and more artists who are just getting into the industry who are in their young 20s, and so they were probably kids when One Piece started. So yeah, for sure, there's definitely lots and lots of influence out there.
Okay. Douche Ex Machina at Cadmus Labs asks, is Big Mom a little giant or an oversized human caught between being too big a human and too small a giant?
I think she's just a big human.
Big human.
If I had to guess,
Yeah, like
Large human.
She's a big mom.
She's like a big mom, yes.
Like a big old mom. She's like Big Mama's House. Starring Martin Lawrence. Or Big Mama's House 2, Back in the House. Is that what something else called? If I was in charge,
you own the poster.
Like, that's true. That is true. I do own the poster. Andrei Shevchenko at Godlord asks, "Who's your favorite character from this arc so far?" Now, let's just go by new characters because not retreading. Yeah, for me, I think it would be Amand. I don't know anything about her, but her design is cool as hell.
I love Montdoor's power. This chapter makes me like it even more. That has nothing to do with the character or anything about him, but I like that power. I think it's cool.
Mine is Kingbaum.
Of course it is.
Oh my god.
I mean, I guess what do we count as like a character from this arc? Because like Big Mom's probably my favorite right now. Otherwise, I'd probly go to
a character that has been like introduced in this arc. I would say. Also,
like
Steven,
not Carrot.
Also, Stephen, would you say that Kingbaum is your favorite?
I might.
There you go.
I hope he's dead now. No, I'm kidding. I love him.
Ouch.
Right, what do you think, Sam?
That's a tough one. Oh no, it's Cracker. I think I like Cracker.
Yeah.
Oh,
Anyone else?
Man. I
was
going
gonna
to
go Cracker, but yeah.
I was thinking Cracker, and
Okay,
I do like
okay,
Amand.
guys. You guys all have the same opinions. We get it.
Yeah, someone's got to go. You
Tall
got to fire
trio.
some of us.
Got the same opinions.
I would also say that Vito, I guess, showed up, and so.
Yeah.
Okay, so
What about Capone's baby? I mean, I like that guy. He's
Oh
cool.
yeah, Pez.
Yeah.
Pez.
Flintstone Kid. Flintstone Vitamin.
Oh wait. I like the way the Vin smokes look.
Is that because you're a Sanji fan?
No, because I just like cool character designs. Oh wait, Sanji fan, right?
I would say a more serious second answer for me would probably be Reiju.
Yeah,
she's a good
She's
character.
cool.
I like her. Yeah, I was gonna say, Steve. I wonder if like an alternate version of your Yahoo handle would have been Niji's cool.
Yonji's cool.
Yonji's cool. Yeah. Okay. Miranda Williams at Awesome Mirandy 2 asks, is it possible that Big Mom arranged the marriage for Lola with Blackbeard to defeat the other 4 emperors?
that doesn't sound right.
Timetable wise, it wouldn't make any sense to me.
No, yeah.
Right.
Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Blackbeard wasn't in power yet during Thriller Bark.
Yeah, nobody actually heard of him until
Oh yeah,
he had
that makes
taken out
sense. It could have been with. No, it can't. None of them. It couldn't have been with any of the other emperors. So, who knows? Yeah.
Maybe it was Jewelry Bonnie, aka Luffy's mom.
What's the next question, Alex?
Ash at King Cocoa Butter asks, who helped Lola escape Whole Cake Island and gave her Big Mom's Beaver card? I thought Pound, but he said he hadn't seen his daughters in a while.
And Lola definitely seems to be on a different page about her relationship with her mom.
Yeah, you know what? Who looks exactly like Lola?
Yeah, Chiffon.
Is her sister Chiffon. Maybe they did some Parent Trap bullshit.
Oh I think
that would actually be kind of crazy.
I think she probably got the Vivere card before all that shit went down. I feel like all of the kids just have that.
Yeah.
If I had to guess, but as to who helped her escape, I don't know. It's a good question that I don't have the answer to.
All right. PD Ace at Loving Hyuk 0302. It's not a question, just says, OMG, Taco Dial is the Reptody Jones! 6 exclamation points.
He did use 2 of our episode titles in a comment, and that's definitely a thumbs up from us, so good
Just
job.
Taco Dial.
The bowler crocodile.
Yeah, he's the bowler.
Oh, right. Taco Dial.
And Reptody Jones, we all remember from the Zoark.
Right.
Yes. What's next? Yeah.
Patrick at Trick the TM asks, so do you think Smoothie's power won't work on Brooke since he's already bone dry? Yo!
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for sure that's going to play a part.
I'm gonna laugh.
Mm-hmm. What if she squeezes him and it just milk comes out?
Wow, that's super funny. I would also accept just dust.
Yeah.
I like that one. What's next?
Yeah. Abigail Carvajal at Straw Hat Part 9 asks, well, so much for Lola being away for Big Mom to like Nami and the others. Poor Lola, Big Mom turning ally is looking slim. I agree. Mm-hmm. I couldn't have counted myself more wrong at the beginning of this arc.
Yeah.
And our next tweet comes to us from Keith Hibbs at Hibbs Keith, who asks, who do you think Lola was supposed to marry? Well, we've covered this a little bit in the manga recap, but might as well repeat. Giants is looking pretty good. Giant royalty. I think perhaps someone, to use a Doflamingo term, think higher. But
yeah, that would be interesting. Like if it was like a celestial dragon or something.
Oh man.
Yeah, something like that. Like wouldn't that be interesting?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but like someone who really would have the power to defeat the other 3 emperors.
Right. Think higher, Gecko Moria. That would explain how they ended up together.
Yeah, I didn't bring this up, but I was going to say I liked that when Luffy was calling Big Mom out for failing to do that stuff, that it was a very it was the same type line of argument that you would use against Moria. It was like, okay, whatever, that's her marriage, but you're the one who still failed to do this stuff. You weren't good enough to rise above that, which I liked. Maybe it reminded me of Thriller Bark a bit.
Garrett Carter at QuipQuest asks, Linda Young for Big Mom in the dub, yay or nay?
Still got a while to go, and I don't know.
Actually, it's not.
Big Mom.
Big Mom shows up in Fishman Island. How many sets away are we from that?
We're like a whole season.
Right.
Yeah.
A season isn't.
That's like 6 sets.
Right. That's a year and a couple months.
Shut up, Zach. No, I just wanted to say that Big Mom, looking at all this stuff now, she's very expressive and energetic, and I don't know if Linda Young's a good match for that.
I will agree. My only real experience for Linda Young is the old dub Frieza, which I unabashedly do not like. So,
well, she made up for it as Genkai in Yu Yu Hakusho.
I hear Alvida's voice coming out of Big Mom right now when I read it.
Like Fat Alvida, like early Alvida.
Yeah.
I'm thinking
I don't really play too much of the who's gonna play this character game anymore with the dub.
because
they're always getting new actors.
Yeah. I think Steven might have mentioned this on a previous podcast, but I get like an Ursula vibe from her, or or maybe a Rita Repulsa, but not as ridiculous.
God, I don't want to hear that voice.
Elizabeth Banks.
Or
my children growl.
Or a Mrs. Big Head, Mrs. Big Mom.
Oh,
Rocco. All right. Dominic, our very own Dominic at Pongo Junkie asks, who do you think Lola was really supposed to marry? Sorry, Dominic.
Some giant.
Jammer.
Probably, yeah. Jammer, well, yes. That's our final answer.
Well, Dominic, I can't say for sure, but they might be giants.
Oh.
Yep. And they just want to rock to wind a piece of string around. Aura, this is our last piece, the tweet. Aura at it's Aura. It's _Aura. Really good question. Why doesn't Big Mom know where Lola is when she has such a huge info network?
That's a pretty good question. Because they knew where
most of her
Zeph
info
was.
network extends to her island, right?
No, I mean they knew Zeph was on a random barge.
Oh, that's true.
In the East Blue. Not
Well,
barge,
I mean, you figure. Well, you figure that the Baratier is kind of famous at this point.
Yeah, and they advertise.
Yeah.
They have a very good marketing team.
Yeah, but at that Sanji being there, you have to do some digging, I think.
That's true.
And yeah, that's a really good question. I think. I don't know.
But also Lola was like trapped in woods for years without a shadow.
That's true.
She might have just lost track. Yeah. Thriller Bark is probably the one place where Big Mom is not able to get to. All right, that's it for Twitter, Alex.
That is it. That is the end of the tweets.
So
they have been properly pieced.
Thank you for properly piecing those tweets, Alex. Why don't we round off the podcast?
Okay.
This has been the One Piece Podcast, episode 446 for the week of Monday, November 28th, 2016. Thank you guys so much for coming on. I want to mention again that today's episode has been sponsored by Right Stuf. You can check them out at rightstufanime.com. This week's Viz promotions include One Punch Man, which is a awesome manga and anime if you haven't checked it out. But the manga is 40% off at this moment. You could get 10 volumes for 40% off. It's a pretty amazing deal, so check that out at rightstufanime.com. Plus a lot more. And I also want to mention we'll be posting our exclusive Patreon episode within the next week or so. So you're going to want to check that out at patreon.com/OnePiecePodcast. In addition, we posted a bunch of exclusives and outtakes. Now's the time to subscribe to patreon.com/OnePiecePodcast. There's also a sale going on at Redbubble, so our store. There's all our merch is available for much cheaper than it would normally be. You can check that out. OnePiecePodcast.com. Go to the store link at the top of the website. You could get our old logo, our current logo, some alternate stuff. There's a banana me. There's lots of stuff. You can check that all out, and you can put it on whatever the hell you want. All available at OnePiecePodcast.com. And again, our Whole Cake Island contest will be going up this week. There'll be a lot more details and information about that soon. But where could the good people find all you guys? Sam, I'll start with you.
They can find me on Twitter at Lucky Chainsaw, and they can find me on the One Piece Podcast doing the anime recaps every week. And you can find me on AnimeNewsNetwork.com doing the daily streaming reviews for One Piece, Dragon Ball Super, and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Diamond is Unbreakable, which should be ending in a few weeks. So
they've really given you a monopoly of the good stuff there, Sam.
Yep.
Mike, where could the good people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Cygnus Impaler. It's a Rush song. And then you can also find me on my own podcast, Stellar Dynamics, where I talk about Rush all the time. And just hanging out around Orlando, you can find me.
It's finally, we have that One Piece Rush crossover here. Steven, where could the good people find you?
You can follow me on Twitter at Translatosaurus.
Thank you, Steven. Alex, where could people find you?
Well, apart from finding me listening to my favorite Rush song, Closer to the Heart Pirates, you can find me on Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram at Dude! All one word. If you're in the DC area in the next month, you can find me doing a whole bunch of great stuff. December 9th at the Black Cat, Super Art Fight is back. I'm tag teaming with Brian Von Sexyful. It's going to be a great time. You should come. And all throughout December, the Washington Improv Theater is putting on a special production that I've been rehearsing for called Citizens Watch, a fully improvised sort of murder mystery type show based on the BBC show Broadchurch. So if you're in the DC area, please try to come see that. And I'll also be at MagFest putzing around in January. So just giving people a little heads up on that.
Steve, where could the good people find us?
Oh crap!
Oh no, Steve, where could the good people find you?
Oh, also Toho Yaro. Listen to it. It's great. New episode coming hopefully at the end of the week. Yeah.
Now, Steve, where could people find you?
Well, I'm not up to much, but you can find me on social media, like on Twitter and Instagram, Tumblr, Steve Yurko, all one word. Check out episodes of Legends of Chamberlain Heights. Those are still coming out right after South Park on Comedy Central, Wednesday nights, 10:30. But other than that, yeah, I got nothing.
Is anyone up for listing where we are, or should I do the honors?
Well, Zach, you can go to our website at onepiecepodcast.com. Subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, and also subscribe to us on SoundCloud. Where else we at?
Google Play also.
Geez. Google Play. You could do
Google
that too.
Play.
Google Play. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Subscribe to us on Twitter, of course, and we also have a Tumblr page. Zach, what else is going on? Do we have? Should we go into the
Facebook.com/OnePiecePodcast? Yeah.
/ One Piece Podcast. Twitter.com/One Piece Podcast.
Patreon.com/One Piece Podcast.
Yeah.
Trying to think. Probably other stuff. Stitcher, if you still use that, that's available.
I should have rehearsed, but I didn't.
But I could say our phone number, and that phone number is 347-497
Maji.
That phone number again is 347-497-6254. Call anytime.
Call anytime. You never call.
With your questions, comments, call us more. We never hear from you. With your questions, comments, and theories. Thank you all so much for coming on the show. The year is going to be over kind of soon, and for those who don't know, I think we'll probably be doing our Jump Festa episode at the beginning of 2017. It depends when we'll be able to get a hold of Greg, but I think we're going to be ending our season before the convention, so we'll probably have our full roundup in January. We're going to have a lot of cool stuff planned as per usual, so please keep an eye on our website, onepiecepodcast.com. The end of the year is the time to be a One Piece fan. There tends to be a lot of big news that comes out. And one of those big pieces of news is that One Piece in Shonen Jump is entering its 20th year next week. For those that don't know, Shonen Jump starts their year around a month before the rest of us do. So that starts, the first issue starts on Monday, so we'll be covering that. I think there's supposed to be a special color spread and a lot more. There'll probably be some information on the website about that shortly if there isn't already, so keep an eye out. But for the One Piece Podcast, my name is Zach. Oh, he's gone.
Well, if Steve was here, he would say my name is Steve. If Ed was here, he would say my name is Ed.
And if Alex was here, he'd say my name is Alex. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye. Everybody peace out?
What happened?